Out of nowhere, this kid gets warped straight into the entrance ceremony of a legendary magic academy, packed with multiversal powerhouses. These beasts aren't even human. They're rocking insane abilities and god-tier stats, but they all share one toxic trait. They absolutely loathe humans. So when Ban Yu-won pops up, the vibes turn deadly instantly. Some big shot immediately barks at him to get lost and crawl to the back, where the weaklings rot. Yu-won keeps his cool and heads back, but something about the air there feels dangerously heavy. Only 3 people are chilling there, but their energy is built different. That blonde guy, he's miles ahead of those front row monsters. Then there's the white-haired girl and a shy pink-haired cutie. Plot twist, the shy one is the true final boss. But even she can't touch Yu-won's aura. Ceremonies over time for war. He's facing Ereto, a massive stone titan. Next to this mountain of rock, Yu-won looks like a tiny bug. The crowd's already mourning him, sure he'll be a pancake in seconds. Ereto is grinning, thinking it's an easy dub. Ereto swings for a lethal finisher, but Yu-won reads him like a children's book and effortlessly slips the strike. Without flinching, he delivers a savage counterpunch right to the jaw. The shockwave is absolutely massive. Ereto hits the dirt hard. He stumbles back up, totally dazed, until his stone face begins to literally fall apart. It finally clicks. Yu-won channeled lethal wave energy into his blade just before the impact. Now that energy is shredding the Titan's internals. Losing it, Ereto goes berserk and lunges again. He can't even land a scratch. He's spiraling, unable to process how a lowly human is styling on him like this. What really triggers him is Yu-won's icy stare. Pure disrespect. Ereto bets it all on one more sloppy charge. Big mistake. Yu-won counters again, cleanly severing the beast's arm in one smooth, terrifying motion. A guttural roar fills the silence. The audience is paralyzed. How is a human absolutely dominating a high-tier monster? Even the ref is shook. Seeing the carnage, he rushes in to call the fight, declaring Ereto officially finished. Yu-won sheathes his steel and turns to dip, but Ereto rises again, blinded by pure, unadulterated salt. He launches one final dirty sneak attack. The ref yells a warning, but Yu-won doesn't even bother moving. He just ignites his power once more, and with surgical precision permanently removes the stone jerk's other limb. Ereto is done for good. The crowd is speechless. Even the official doesn't know what to think. What just happened, and why didn't he dodge? Looks like he's going to be answering some serious questions. The headmaster is waiting. So who is this guy and how is he this cracked? It all began on a normal day. He was just a regular student, checking his college admissions online. But instead of an acceptance, things got weird. Cryptic symbols glitched across his screen. Before he could even blink, a blinding flash swallowed the entire room. He poofed before his mom could even blink. Suddenly, he was free-falling through a void-like tunnel into the unknown. A system alert chimed, announcing a special trial for candidates from lower dimensions. Yu-won was spiraling. Was he trapped in a game? This whole situation was straight-up bizarre. The system's first quest, kill a blind goblin and smash the dungeon core. Simple, right? He lost it, screaming at the top of his lungs. He never signed up for this isekai nightmare. What even is a special exam? But then the heavy thud of footsteps echoed through the dark. Yu-won started sweating bullets as these repulsive, hideous beasts with massive clubs stepped into the light. These goblins were blind, but they had super hearing. One wrong breath and it was game over. They were chatting in their own tongue, and shocker, Yu-won could understand every single word. They called him Lunch. He started connecting the dots between the system alerts and these sightless monsters lurking in the shadows. He realized he had to slay these things to survive. This felt like a survival horror game come to life. The goblins were sniffing around trying to track him down, while Yu-won silently panicked over his terrible luck. How was he supposed to fight? He hadn't even squashed a bug before, let alone a literal monster. Suddenly, a goblin swung its club. It smashed into the ground just inches away from his most sensitive parts. Talk about a close call. One more centimeter and his future was history. The beast swung again, but Yu-won rolled away, desperately trying to keep his breathing quiet. He tried to act like a ghost, but his presence was becoming impossible to hide. The relentless goblins corner him again, swinging their clubs with murderous intent. Ban narrowly evades the lethal blow. Escaping by a hair's breadth, he listens. The beasts growl about a nearby noise. That's when the truth hits him. These sightless freaks rely entirely on sound and vibrations. Their strategy: corner their prey until there's nowhere left to run. As they communicate, Ban realizes stealth is useless. It's only a matter of time before they sniff him out. Thinking fast, Ban Yu-won hurls a stone toward the shadows. The monsters lunge at the noise without hesitation, but they find nothing but cold earth and a lonely pebble. Ban seizes the opening, crushing one goblin's skull with a massive boulder. Chaos ensues as the confused monsters turn on each other. Convinced they've found their target, the two goons trade bone-shattering blows in a blind, savage frenzy. Finally, both monsters collapse in a heap. After seeing their skulls cave in, Ban's heart nearly stops from sheer terror. Surveying the bloody carnage, his eyes land on a heavy wooden club abandoned on the ground. He retrieves the weapon, whispering a cold apology to the green bastards before delivering the final mercy. One swift strike ensures they won't be getting back up. Silence descends as the goblin threat is finally extinguished. Suddenly, a radiant glow erupts. A system message flashes, celebrating Ban's very first successful kill in this hellhole. His reward, the unfathomable authority of the higher dimensions, begins to surge through him. Arcane energy swirls around his palm. The system announces a game changer. The Babylonian code has been officially awakened. This power manifests as ideograms, a script instinctively familiar to Ban's very soul. These aren't just letters. They are symbols that embody the core essence and concepts of reality itself. The system confirms that Chinese characters have been successfully integrated. Unlike mere sounds, these shapes pulse with the raw, direct meaning of the universe. From the fallen goblins, Ban extracts the primal concepts of demon and life, ripping them straight from their corpses. Other fragments are too high level for him to grasp, leaving Ban Yuan absolutely speechless. This isn't just translation. He has the godlike ability to harvest the literal soul and essence of existence. The system prepares to assimilate 0.2 of the demon concept, but there's a catch. Pure demonic essence is toxic to humans. He must seal it within the Babylonian code for later use. Curious, he reaches out to snatch a floating rune, eager to test the limits of his new divinity. He presses the symbol to his chest. Instantly, his life stat jumps to 10.4, flooding his body with vitality. His potential skyrockets as he absorbs the flesh concept, fortifying his physical vessel to 10.2. He flexes his fingers, realizing he's not just recovered. His grip and leg power have reached superhuman levels. He has literally devoured the goblin's strength. As the transfer completes, the corpses vanish into thin air. All that remains are two crude wooden clubs lying in the dust. If he can buff himself, why not his gear? Ban grabs another concept to infuse his weapon. With his newly enchanted weapon, the remaining monsters are fodder. He moves to shatter the glowing dungeon orb. The core shatters. The system chimes, congratulating him on clearing the lower dimension's brutal entrance exam. Ban exhales, his shoulders finally dropping. Is the nightmare over? Is it finally time to return home? Fate has other plans. The system redirects him to a dormitory in a world he doesn't recognize. Welcome to Union Academy. As his feet hit the pavement, the realization of his new reality sinks in. Another notification pops up, welcoming him as a provisional student of this prestigious, otherworldly institution. He's ordered to dress in the official academy uniform and report for his interview immediately. Ban Yuan can't help but curse his luck. He was supposed to be a college student. He worked so hard to get into a top university back on Earth. Now he's stuck in a high school uniform again. With no choice, he reluctantly obeys. Clad in his new threads, he storms out, ready to demand answers from whoever is running this show. He's prepared to scream for compensation regarding this forced kidnapping. But his anger instantly evaporates. A literal goddess in glasses sits at the front desk. Ban freezes, his bravado replaced by sheer awe. Is she an alien too? Green-skinned or not, she is the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. As soon as her eyes land on him, she welcomes Ban Yuan like an old friend. Identifying as Union Academy's magic combat professor, she beams with genuine excitement at his arrival. After praising his exam success, she leans in questioning if he realizes just how legendary his scores were. The entire faculty is buzzing about him, but Ban Yuan is standing there, completely lost and confused. She reveals the shocking truth: he is the first student in 500 years to forge a brand new artifact. Our boy is not feeling the hype though. He was basically kidnapped and thrown into this mess blindly. Death literally brushed past him, yet the professor is practically glowing with over-the-top enthusiasm. She clarifies his performance did not just meet expectations, it shattered the limits of the special exam. Ban Yuan zones out his mind, fixated on one goal: escaping this weird academy once and for all. Suddenly, a colossal pillar outside catches his gaze. Intrigued, he questions the professor about the massive structure. When he asks its name, she explains that this very pillar is why Union Academy exists. This place grooms elite talents from every dimension, pushing them toward one goal: reaching the peak. Conquering the tower's summit is the grand ambition driving Union Academy's very foundation. It is the multi-dimensional last hope to seize the Dungeon of Dungeons, the source of every cosmic mystery. They call it the Tower of Babel. This news hits Ban Yuan with the force of a freight train. Every legend from his grandfather's stories, everything he grew up hearing, is standing right before his eyes. While the revelation sparks excitement, one glaring question still lingers in Ban Yuan's mind. If it is the ultimate dungeon, does that mean terrifying monstrosities have claimed the entire tower? Regardless, a smirk forms as he realizes his family's fallen legacy is finally about to be resurrected. Driven by ambition and the professor's special offer, he decides right then to join Union Academy. After heading home to brief his family on these insane events, he prepares for the transition. Armed with fresh resolve, he gears up for enrollment. Time skip to his return to campus. Deep within Union Academy's lower dungeon, specifically the Hobgoblin Cave, Ban Yuan is back in action. He is absolutely erasing those helpless goblins from existence, masterfully handling his devastating enchanted firearm. His rigorous training and surging abilities signal the glorious rebirth of his family's legendary name. Ban Yu-1 is only warming up. With the backstory settled, let us plunge deeper into the chaos. Initially, he believed his gift was just linguistic, but slaying goblins taught him to rip away concepts. He grasped concepts like demon life and murder, all evolving through the power of the Babylonian code. This trait grants him the power to absorb, speak, and command the fundamental essence of any object. Each fallen foe allows Ban Yu-1 to harvest recognizable concepts, fueling his meteoric rise in power. Inside the blind goblin cave, he harvested several traits, infusing the demon concept into a basic club. Transformed into a lethal weapon, the club pulses with eerie energy, his very first custom artifact. With one order, the club sheds its disguise, morphing and striking out on its own. He embraces his new companion so tightly it starts blushing. This tiny helper secured his top-tier results. While organizing his collection of gathered essences, a mysterious new concept catches his sharp eye. He has obtained the soul concept. Instantly, his loyal club begins pleading for a taste of that power. He happily complies, tossing in the soul essence plus bits of life, ghost, and spirit for good measure. Rapidly manifesting these essences, he anchors them into the weapon, sparking a flawless harmonic resonance. The artifact undergoes a radical evolution, as the ghost and beast concepts fuse instantly. This transcendental fusion creates insane synergy, pushing the weapon's potential way past its original limits. Ghost Beast 10 is born, and a phantom serpent manifests before him with surprising honesty. Honestly, I am just as lost on the mechanics as you are, but damn, this creature looks intimidating. It is actually just a tiny snake birthed from merging the ghost and beast characters together. Having breathed life into this ghost beast, Ban Yu-1 tentatively reaches out to stroke it, but facing that reptilian stare makes him pause. Sensing his hesitation, the little snake's expression turns genuinely pained. Gulping down his fear, Ben strokes the serpent's head and the tiny creature instantly coils around his wrist. He dubs his new companion Eve. Before retreating, they dive deep into the growth interface to check their stats. From what he's gathered, life functions like a level system, while flesh dictates his raw physical power. But that massive soul stat, total mystery. He wonders if his god-tier perception skills are fueled by his linguistic talent. Regardless, the grind never stops. With a firm tap on the yes button, it's finally time to head back. Space warps as he teleports straight to the Union Academy entrance. He lands right in the bustling auditorium. The induction ceremony is in full swing, and the entire hall is vibrating with the energy of hyped-up freshmen. Suddenly, our MC spawns in, stealing the spotlight with his flashy entrance. The massive crowd honestly catches him off guard. Surrounded by an ocean of students, Ben instantly triggers his all-seeing eyes to scan the competition. He sees everything. As his mastery grows, these mystical eyes peel back the layers of reality, revealing the raw aura and spirits nearby. Unlike Ben, who's a special admit from a lower dimension, these elite regular students radiate overwhelming top-tier power. While he maneuvers through the sea of prodigies to find his chair, a massive shadow suddenly looms over him. Some arrogant thug blocks his path, mocking his lower dimension roots and snarling at Ben to stay hidden. Ben just hits him with a whatever wave and keeps moving, refusing to let some mid-tier bully ruin his day. It's obvious these high-born elites are full of themselves, treating anyone from a lower realm like absolute trash. Even in this magical academy, the strong still prey on the weak. Honestly, it's just like the toxic vibes back on Earth. He sighs, wondering if this pathetic might makes right. Ego trip is a universal constant across every single galaxy. Suddenly a voice cuts through the noise, calling his name and gesturing for him to take a seat. He spots a row with only 4 chairs. 3 of them are already claimed by some very intense-looking individuals. He figures this isolated corner must be the designated lower dimension zone, kept far away from the elite regulars. This whole setup reeks of discrimination. He activates his ocular skills to gauge his new seatmates, and his jaw drops. Their power levels are off the charts. These guys aren't just strong. They could easily obliterate those arrogant regular students. The blonde guy in the front row shoots him a look. Turns out Ben's already met this golden boy. It's his striking roommate from the dorms. Their first encounter, however, was anything but a warm welcome home party. When Ben first walked into their room, Blondie literally pulled a blade on him. Ben had to check him immediately. Thankfully, the swordsman backed down, apologizing for his hair-trigger temper caused by the stress of his recent combat trials. He checks if Ben's alright, but our boy is currently drenched in cold sweat, looking like he's seen a ghost. Despite the near-death experience, Ben can't help but notice this dude looks like he walked straight out of a fairy tale. Sure, he's got a short fuse, but he owned up to his mistake. Maybe he's not a total jerk after all. They start vibing, and Ben brings up his struggle against the blind goblins. Unfortunately, that was a big mistake. Blondie literally laughs in his face, claiming even a total noob with 0 training could solo a goblin in seconds. Ben's salt levels peak. He mutters under his breath about how this pretty boy is completely clueless about the struggle. Shifting gears, Ben remembers his dirty uniform needs a scrub. Without a second thought, he starts stripping off his shirt. The second those shredded six-pack abs are revealed, Blondie's brain short-circuits. He's absolutely dying of embarrassment at the sight. Ben catches him staring, and the blonde guy snaps his head away, desperately trying to avoid any awkward eye contact. Feeling a bit weirded out, Ben shifts his attention and waves hello to the two stunning girls sitting nearby. One's a total knockout with vibrant pink hair, a lethal physique, and sharp cat-like eyes that could pierce your soul. Then there's the girl with snow-white hair. Her vibe, let's just say it's anything but friendly neighbor material. Ben literally flinches in fear. There's something deeply unsettling about her presence that triggers his fight-or-flight instincts immediately. Her void-like black eyes are so terrifyingly intense that he's forced to look away just to keep his sanity. The creepy girl fixates on the white serpent coiling around Ben's hand, coldly asking what that thing is. It's Eve. Surprisingly, the mood shifts instantly. All three of them are suddenly obsessed with how adorable the little snake is. Blondie is baffled, though. He remembers this snake looking like a literal blunt weapon just a few days ago. The scary girl actually turns out to be pretty relaxed. She introduces herself as Dao Gaiyan, daughter of a legendary martial master. She then turns the question on him. Ben doesn't miss a beat, introducing himself with newfound confidence. Ban asks if she can fire off energy blasts using her secret martial arts. The others mock his wild imagination, but Dako Yan hints he's actually onto something. Ban is hooked. The pink-haired girl is Rutile, while the blonde guy introduces himself as Light. Suddenly, Ban spots Professor Yumina. Light asks if she already gave Ban a private consultation. Suddenly, a blinding shimmer erupts above them. As they tilt their heads back, the massive auditorium ceiling slowly retracts. A thunderous roar fills the space so deafening. It feels like their skulls might explode. The soul-crushing pressure pins everyone to the ground. A haunting voice announces the entrance ceremony for the 2557th class. When they finally look up, a colossal, terrifying eye is staring down from the heavens. Moments later, we see Yumina beaming with pride after the principal's earth-shattering speech. The squad is shaken, but Ban casually asks if that giant eyeball was the principal. His reckless comment shocks them. They swarm him, demanding to know how he looked up, or even saw that divine being. Dako Yan's pitch-black eyes are fixed on him, and her intense gaze is totally creeping him out. Panicked, Ban stammers out a lie, claiming he just had a weird gut feeling that something was watching them. Yumina confirms it was the principal, adding, they likely won't see that entity again. Unless they achieve legendary status or cause chaos, she's certain Ban will meet him soon. Ban quips that meeting that monster is a literal death wish. Yumina laughs, stating, their success is her own glory. She demands they grind hard, leaving Light totally stunned. He frantically asks if she's actually their mentor. Yumina sets her tea down gracefully and flashes a sharp smile, officially introducing herself as Professor Yumina, magical combat expert. She's the homeroom professor for Class 11 and will lead them for the next 5 years. Light is baffled. Usually special admission underdogs are dumped onto low-level associate professors. Yumina agrees but explains this group is so unique that she personally took the responsibility. She warns them to be wary of the regular students' toxic jealousy and growing hostility. Ban realizes she's not just talking about grades. This is about survival in the academy. She's referring to brutal physical clashes and student wars. Outside of official school matches, professors can't even interfere with the violence. Yumina tells the four to stick together. As rare special recruits, they'll form a permanent party to conquer the tower until graduation. With a sharp snap of her fingers, she summons a mysterious gift for the group. Everyone gets one. She promises to explain the mechanics once they receive their new artifacts. A glowing pendant appears their official student ID. She warns them to never lose it. This ID unlocks everything, all campus facilities and instant teleportation across the entire Union realm. The trio activates their pendants and vanishes instantly, warping to the outskirts of the academy. But they're immediately yanked back inside, letting out a collective groan of pure disappointment. I'm guessing the IDs forced them back since freshmen aren't allowed outside the gates yet. Light adds that they'll definitely need these pendants to enter the tower's dangerous floors. Suddenly, the cat girl notices Ban was left behind. The dark-eyed girl has a theory. She suspects the principal sensed him. Ban was the only one who could stare back. That colossal eye definitely felt Ban's presence. The scene shifts to Yumina on a call. She tells the person on the other end that their tea party is officially cancelled. The principal wants a private meeting with the boy. Ban is now vibrating with terror. He's drenched in cold sweat, panicking over a private summons when he's done nothing wrong. The principal commands him to look up, explaining that his true form isn't actually present. Ban realizes the principal is speaking through a doll. He's told to call him Master. During these audiences, the master typically avoids meddling in a disciple's evolution. He lets the weak flounder and the strong flourish, remaining a cold, silent observer. Whether they perish in the shadows or claim eternal glory matters absolutely nothing to him. His obsession is singular, witnessing a soul finally conquer the tower's ultimate peak. With a chilling tone, the master declares that everything else is utterly trivial. Aside from that final goal, the world is empty. The protagonist falls into stunned silence. Ban questions this nihilistic view while remembering his grandfather's ancient cryptic warnings. He realizes the tower's roots stretch back to his very own ancestors and the Ban lineage. Determination blazes within him. Ban is ready to seize every ounce of strength and glory. Even if he must sacrifice his life, he'll conquer the climb, yet wonders about the professors. Why are they all chasing the end? He asks this mysterious entity about his dimensional origin. What is the tower truly? The master pauses, weighing his words with heavy significance. He reveals it is a challenge and a gateway to divinity. Ban remains dazed but assured. Usually, he never interferes with a student's struggle, but he's considering a rare exception. He'll guide our boy. While Ban remains baffled, a doll's finger points directly at him. Recognizing his massive potential, the principal decides to actually put in some effort. He intends to prepare the boy for the brutal journey ahead. Ban wonders what preparation entails. The principal reveals that the protagonist's exploration privileges have been significantly upgraded. He can now bypass dungeon restrictions. The master advises sharpening his skills before the real climb. Ban is shocked he can leave the academy. The master confirms this once the principal finishes. He teleports the boy back, offering one final piece of advice: keep grinding those skills. He promises to unlock the next tier soon if Ban shows legendary progress. That next tier is solo exploration of the tower. With a final wish to meet again, he warps Ban away. Our hero materializes in Professor Yumina's private quarters, where she immediately grills him. Waking up on her lap, a flustered Ban scrambles to his feet in total embarrassment. Yumina explains that the master is an eccentric hermit who despises having visitors. She spots his new pendant, shocked he's allowed to leave. Ban is clueless about the significance. He recalls the master's demand for rapid growth. She insists this is a massive deal. She explains he can now freely roam external cities and dungeons outside the tower's reach. He's stunned by such high-level clearance. She tells him this freedom is a golden ticket. He can now farm experience and outpace everyone else. Ban finally feels a wave of relief. The master wasn't calling him weak. He was pushing him to evolve. He smiles awkwardly. Professor Yumina calls his luck insane and shares some frustrating news of her own. Faculty members are currently forbidden from leaving the Union Academy's strict grounds. Everything here favors the students, leaving the professors stuck with all the hassle. With his new rank, Ban can raid dungeons or visit cities whenever he feels like it. Yumina looks visibly envious, wishing she could just head out for her favorite snacks. She recommends he visit Ronika, a city famous for its breathtaking spring temple. Ban is confused by her sudden mood swing, but pauses before making his exit. He asks if she needs anything. Soon, the protagonist sets off toward the new horizon. The weather is perfect. He thinks back to Yumina's request regarding the legendary temple. She craves the famous honeymoon wine, brewed by priests and tasks. Ban with a mission. He needs to secure 2 bottles. Ban can't believe he's being used as an alcohol delivery boy. He shrugs it off, grateful he secured an inventory system before heading out. Suddenly, an item catches his eye, a mysterious parting gift left by his grandfather. Just before enrolling in the academy, Ban discovered a mysterious satchel packed with secret items. Before his departure, Gramps checked if our boy was truly ready to face the world. Ban asked if the old man rested well, but Gramps simply pulled out a hidden bag. He told Ban to take whatever he desired. Confused, our hero reached inside the mystery sack. He found pure gold. Gramps gave him the green light to take as much as possible. With a sly grin, the old man revealed the treasure belonged to their legendary ancestors. They spent lifetimes hunting the Tower of Babel. Gramps urged Ban to use the wealth wisely. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Ban's eyes filled with tears. But then a massive logistical problem hit. How was he supposed to haul all this heavy loot? That was his only real concern. Luckily, his inventory skill was a total game changer. He smirked and stored every single item instantly. Everything fit perfectly without any hassle. Recalling that gold is a universal power move, our boy grabbed several bars. With his gear finally packed, he set off for the horizon. He finally reached Ronika City, his heart racing to take his first step into this world. Stepping into the massive metropolis, Ban expected something alien, yet it felt strangely familiar at first. That assumption shattered the moment he spotted the high-tech marvels hovering in the sky. He marveled at the flying vehicles until a sudden voice hailed him from the shadows. Patrol guards closed in, suspicious of the new face. But as they approached him, they spotted his Union Academy emblem and froze. Their suspicion instantly turned into deep respect. These were the Western Boundary Guardians. Ban introduced himself, matching their formal and disciplined energy. Curious, they wondered how a student was roaming solo. They assumed he had high-level clearance. The Chancellor gave me permission, Ban confirmed. He was officially cleared to explore the city freely. The guards praised the Chancellor's tireless efforts to keep the city streets peaceful and safe. Ban chuckled awkwardly, realizing his academy held insane influence. As a fresh first-year student, the veterans assumed he was lost, and offered to show him the ropes of Ronica City. They promised to provide full guidance, claiming it was simply part of their official duty. Ask anything, they insisted. Ban didn't hesitate to take advantage of their local expert knowledge. He pointed at a sleek hoverbike. I want one of those. What's the price tag? With the guard's assistance, Ban secured the ride and revved the powerful engine to life. Heading back to the academy, he felt like a boss soaring through the city clouds. He flashed back to the guards' confused faces when he first asked to buy the bike. They warned him that even a base model cost a staggering 250,000 ronia. Ban loved the name hoverbike, but the currency system was still a total mystery to him. He casually offered a gold bar instead. The guards' jaws hit the floor at the sight. They gasped, wondering how he got his hands on such a massive chunk of pure gold. They doubted it was real until the appraisal. One bar was worth 7 million ronia. 500,000 more was added to that. Gramps really did hook him up with fortune. He made a mental note to thank the old man. Suddenly, his pet snake Eve appeared. Ban asked for her thoughts while infusing the bike with yin and qi energy attributes. The bike evolved into a living artifact named Lilith, a new sibling for his pet snake. He hoped his two companions would bond. Eve hissed as they circled the Babel Tower. Mission accomplished. He'd secured premium booze for Professor Yumina and a new mechanical sibling. With all tasks finished, our hero grinned and blasted back toward the Union Academy. After delivering the liquor, Ban finally rejoined his friends while feeling absolutely trashed and sick. Ace Light handed him some water, looking completely done with Ban's chaotic and reckless energy. He couldn't believe Ban vanished for days just to return with a legendary hangover. Cornered at the meeting, Ben frantically defends himself, claiming the professor held him hostage after class. After the drinks settle, Doggo's sharp eyes spot a flower badge pinned to the protagonist's uniform. Doggo wonders if that badge marks him as their representative, all for boozing with Professor Yumina. Ben stays lost in his snacks while Ace Light realizes they're trapped by destiny. They have no choice but to obey. Professor Yumina holds all the cards here. Suddenly, Doggo drops a bombshell, declaring herself the only one worthy of leading their squad. The boys are floored. Her reason, she's simply the apex predator among the four of them. Doggo demands Ben's approval, but Ace Light shuts her down, insisting they are all equals. He finds her logic twisted and decides it's time to crush her delusions of grandeur. Ace warns that her toxic arrogance will ruin their tower climb, and admits he's truly disappointed. He refuses to call her the strongest. Doggo just smirks, finding this equality talk hilarious. She exposes his secret, didn't he? Ask Yumina if he could climb the tower completely solo. Ace turns bright red, while Ben and Rutile realize the awkward truth. He really did. Fumbling for an excuse, Ace claims it was just curiosity and swears he's a team player. Ben feels the hopelessness rising as pure animosity fills the air before the first bell. It hits him, he should have planned ahead. This group is headed for a total train wreck. Though he never wanted the spotlight, our boy finally understands why he has to lead. Yumina chose him for a reason. Ace Light might be strong, but he's totally oblivious. He's got too much pride. Meanwhile, Doggo's power comes with a personality that invites enemies. Then there's Rutile. She's too passive and lacks the fire needed to command this chaotic crew. Ben sighs at these special students and steps in to chill everyone out. He drops some truth. The leader doesn't need to be the person with the biggest muscles. In fact, being the weakest might be better. Doggo is visibly confused by his logic. If the strongest leads, they'll become a tyrant. A true leader shouldn't just act alone. Their job is to unite the class. The party goes silent, actually listening to him. Our boy explains that a real leader is a strategist who finds solutions for everyone. They need to be the anchor, standing right in the center of the group's chaos. Ben claims his chill personality makes him the perfect fit to be their class president. Doggo isn't fully sold, but since Yumina already picked him, she backs off for now. She lets him off the hook, and our boy breathes a massive sigh of relief. With an icy stare, Doggo admits she only cares about leading the protagonist himself. Ben is baffled. She makes it clear there are plenty of things she hates. But to get what she wants, she'll tolerate these unnecessary classmates for the time being. Ace and Rutile are left stunned as Doggo vanishes, leaving a heavy silence behind. Ben tries to calm his roommate, feeling completely drained after such a chaotic morning. It's only the first day. Why does a simple school morning feel like a literal battlefield? He takes a breather, knowing it'll take time to fix the massive egos in this group. Shifting the mood, Rutile excitedly asks Ben if he still has that mysterious snake. She's dying to touch it just once after seeing it earlier that morning. Ben realizes the academy is a gauntlet. Now his first lesson as president begins. Standing before a room of eccentric elites, our boy hits a brand new wall. A student challenges him to a duel to prove the leftovers don't belong here. Ben's squad faces the special students as the professor orders an immediate sparring match. Class 11's elites lose their minds, hungrily demanding a fight against the trash students. They're out for blood, and our boy is right in the crosshairs. It's go time. Disbelief ripples through the crowd. How could this nobody be the class representative? The elite students instantly target Ban. Tension thickens, making our boy sweat. He discovers Union Academy separates students into tiers based on raw power. The special class elite already radiate pure toxicity toward class 11. Ban senses the heavy hostility instantly. Panicking Ban realizes the target on his back is that flower badge. It is basically a glowing middle finger to everyone. Enter Ereto, a massive meathead with zero chill. He spots the badge Professor Yumina gifted our protagonist. To Ereto, that badge is a slap in the face. He cannot believe this weakling received such an honor. Musclehead's jaw tightens with murderous intent. He vows to never recognize Ban as an equal in this lifetime. Erecto roars, demanding a blood-pumping duel. He barks at the professor for a spar, getting the green light instantly. The professor orders Ban to the center. It is time for a David versus Goliath showdown against the meathead. Meanwhile, Professor Yumina is sensing a trap. A joint session on day 1 with the elites, this is unheard of. Jumping straight into life-or-death combat feels totally rigged. The vibes are completely off from the start. Pitting a lower-tier student against an upper-dimension monster is insane. This was no accident. It was a setup. Someone is pulling the strings from the shadows. Yumina knows something sinister is brewing within these academy walls. Back in the pit, Ban raises his hand. He honestly admits his combat skills are currently at level 0. Why fight a losing battle? But the teacher just sneers, docking 3 points from Ban's score immediately. No excuses. The teacher barks at him to start the carnage now. This is not a request. It is an order. Ban grits his teeth. Is this teacher seriously trying to humiliate him in front of the entire student body? He stands his ground, stating facts. He was scouted for his hacks ability, not for his martial arts prowess. If the teacher wants a show, why not let him demonstrate his unique gift instead of a pointless fistfight? Forcing him into a duel makes 0 sense if they actually want to evaluate his special admission status. The teacher's face turns purple with rage. Are you really trying to lecture me on how to teach? Our hero tries to clap back but loses 5 more points instantly. Frustrated, Ban holds up one single finger. He proposes a deal, give him 7 days to prep. The duel should happen next week, not today. 7 days is all he needs. By then, he promises to be fully locked in and ready for war. The arena goes dead silent. You could hear a pin drop before the confused whispers begin to erupt. The crowd loses it, mocking him for trying to stall. They think his request is a total joke. They are convinced his stats are trash. How could a bottom feeder survive even 1 round against the special class? The teacher is fuming. Does this kid think he can just dictate the schedule and ignore academy rules? Eventually, the teacher smirks and agrees. Fine. The match is set for next week, but there is a catch. This will be an official televised main event. The entire academy will watch Ban get crushed via live broadcast. The trap is sprung. The teacher is making this a public execution to shatter Ban's reputation forever. As the announcement ends, the stakes have never been higher. Ban is now the academy's most wanted target. Unfazed Ban turns to Erecto with a confident grin, saying he cannot wait. The meathead just scoffs and looks away. So annoying, Erecto grumbles. Ban expected the cold shoulder. He only spoke to him to activate his analysis. The results are terrifying. Erecto's life force and physical stats are way higher than anything Ban expected. The gap is insane. His health is 5 times higher, and his strength is 10 times greater than our boys. But compared to the top tiers, even Erecto is a small fry. Ban must conquer this mountain to reach the summit. Seeing his friends looking depressed, Ban cracks a joke. But their dread has a very real, very scary source. Dako steps into the spotlight, ready to throw hands. She announces that unlike the class rep, she is a beast. She is a pure combat specialist. Aren't you all dying to see what a special admission student can really do? She challenges the whole room. Ban flickers his eye ability and nearly chokes when he sees her monstrous stats. Tying her hair back, Dako welcomes all challengers. Her aura says she is ready to smoke anyone who steps up. The silence is deafening. Even the teacher is paralyzed, watching the elite students tremble in their boots. Ban knows exactly why they are terrified. Even with his infinite reading, her power level is off the charts. The students can feel it too. A primal fear keeps them frozen because they know Dako is on a whole different level. What's the matter? Should I dial back my aura since you're all trembling? She locks eyes with Orudama, mocking his hesitation before demanding he step up to be annihilated. Seeing this, Ban realizes Orudama is paralyzed with fear. He never expected this monster to intervene. Facing a nightmare he never planned for, Orudama knows retreat isn't an option. Cowardice would shatter his ego forever. Even if Ban thinks he's fodder, the stakes are high. Wanting to avoid a total disaster, Ban steps forward, telling the girl to stand down for now. Daku questions his resolve, reminding him of the sparring match they scheduled for next week. The hero stands firm, determined to win with his own strength, a move that actually impresses her. Noticing a spark of true backbone in him, she finally decides to spare the rock guy. She surveys the special class like prey, but with no one stepping up, she scoffs in boredom. All bark and no bite, she sneers, leaving the enraged students helpless in her shadow. Suddenly, a cold voice cuts through. Did you just compare us to mutts? An arrogant boy smirks. He claims only the weak hide in packs. Ban immediately senses a monstrous presence from this newcomer. Light whispers the name Orima, the undisputed sovereign of the Cadia dimension. The hero is lost, so the blonde explains the 10-tiered hierarchy of existence. Orima belongs to a lineage that commands an entire reality. He is royalty among gods. Ban feels the weight of the danger. As the tension peaks, time seems to slow down. Orima signals the professor, who activates a strange device, sparking the pink-haired girl's curiosity. Light reveals it's a high-tech combat recorder used to stream academy battles to the masses. This world's tech feels eerily familiar to Ban, mirroring the digital systems of his home. Light is shocked. A low-ranker knows about the web, but Ban's explanation is simple and direct. Rochelle chimes in, explaining the Academy's live-streaming culture that turns every duel into a show. Seeing the live feed already rolling, Ban shoots the greedy professor a look of pure disgust. He's exploiting their fight for views. Now, Daku and Orima stand locked in a lethal stare-down. Their auras collide. Daku taunts him like a child, offering the first strike to the rookie. Enraged, Orima unleashes his dominion, a crushing command that forces the very world to kneel. The air vanishes, replaced by a suffocating gravity that threatens to crush the life from Ban. It's a primal law forcing every living thing to bow. Light wonders if Ban can analyze it. The pink-haired girl is too paralyzed by terror to even witness the clash of titans. Suddenly, Daku erupts with abyssal energy, effortlessly erasing Orima's absolute authority with a single flick. Ban's jaw drops. She neutralized a god-tier attack while barely tapping into her true reserves. Orima acknowledges her strength, but she just laughs, calling his legendary power a total letdown. Refusing to be humiliated, the Prince of Cadia gears up for a devastating second strike. In a flash, Daku closes the gap, burying her heel into his gut before he can react. She mocks his predictability, exposing the fatal flaws in a technique that relies only on distance. Orima is forced into a desperate defense as Daku flickers behind him like a vengeful shadow. "If you're too dumb to think your body has to bleed," she whispers as he swings wildly. Her insults cut deeper than her strikes, mocking his lack of speed and infantile combat sense. Orima lunges in a blind fury, but she dances around him like he's standing still. Light is speechless. Daku isn't just winning. She is completely dismantling a dimension ruler. Orima's reliance on universal laws backfires against a monster who doesn't play by the rules. Despite his raw stats, he's a novice in real warfare, lacking any true martial instinct. Ban dissects every frame of the battle, leaving his friends wondering if he's even human. As two monsters clash, Light realizes the low-dimension outcasts are actually the most terrifying ones here. The hierarchy is shattered. Just how much power are these transfer students truly hiding? The scene is absolute chaos. A brutal volley of strikes rains down on the top student as his pride shatters. Orima roars in fury, demanding how she dares humiliate him, but another heavy blow silences his pathetic rant. Daku mocks his weakness, claiming his whining only proves he's reached his limit against her superior skills. Suddenly, the air chills. Orima ignites a forbidden ability, his eyes burning with a vow of absolute vengeance. Blinded by rage, he threatens her life. She just sneers, reminding the brat that death is far too heavy for him. With a chilling smirk, she shrouds her fist in dark energy and lunges forward like a predator. The guy channels his final move as they both rocket toward a collision that looks fatal. Suddenly, Professor Yumina descends. Vibrant flower petals explode across the field, freezing time and their lethal attacks. Both fighters freeze in shock. The professor's voice cuts through the silence like a blade. She strictly reminds them that the academy isn't a slaughterhouse, they should save that killing intent for the tower. With a snap, the petals vanish. Ban realizes this fragrance is real, this is far more than a mere illusion. Orima retreats, gritting his teeth in shame. Daku watches him go, then acknowledges the professor's overwhelming power. Yumina offers a knowing smile. The silver-haired warrior then rejoins her team, her job clearly done. Ban praises her combat prowess, admitting the show taught him a lot. But the vibe shifts instantly. Ruthie, trembling like a leaf, latches onto Ban for safety. He blinks in confusion, wondering what's wrong. Seeing her break out in a cold sweat, he realizes she's terrified, and honestly it's kind of adorable. Meanwhile, Yumina begins absolutely shredding the instructor, who allowed this unsupervised duel to happen. She blasts him for standing by like a useless spectator while students nearly killed each other on day one. The teacher grovels for forgiveness, but Yumina warns him that a simple sorry won't save his career. She then pivots to Ban, pointing at his badge. She reminds the class prez that his image is everything. So why is his badge upside down? The surrounding students watch in stunned, irritated silence. After wishing them a good day, she vanishes. Ban realizes she didn't stop the fire, she just added gasoline. He's right. The incident goes viral instantly, lighting up every student's feed across the entire academy. From dorms to the cafeteria, everyone is glued to the recordings of the one-sided beatdown. The comments are losing it. How could a lower dimension student absolutely fold an elite top ranker? The Silver Reaper is trending. Half the school is shaking in fear while the others are already simping. But viewers are most curious about Ban. They're all dying to know his connection to the legendary Yumina. Within minutes, the internet is obsessed with them. Ban sighs, feeling the weight of the digital spotlight. It feels like the whole world is watching. Meanwhile, Dako is suspicious about the guy she just humbled. She doubts he was the strongest in class, sensing a far more monstrous presence hiding nearby. Ban just laughs, claiming he was too distracted by her fight to notice anything else. Light then checks his tablet. He warns Ban that his name is currently being dragged through every community forum in school. Ban assumes it's just salt from the loser's fans, but Dako hints that the tea is much deeper. They suddenly notice Ruthie huddled in the distance, still vibrating with pure, unadulterated terror. The hero realizes she's traumatized by Dako's power. Living together in the same room is going to be impossible. Seeing her so broken, he decides to pull out his secret weapon to calm her nerves. He retrieves a glowing jar from his inventory, a special elixir jam crafted with his unique ability. This isn't just food. It's a stat-boosting masterpiece that can permanently enhance a person's potential. As they stare in confusion, Ban pops the lid, promising them a flavor that will change their lives. Ruthie remains curled up until a heavenly sweet aroma hits her like a physical force. Drawn by the scent of pure bliss, she looks up. Ban offers them a taste and they dive in. The moment it hits their tongues, their eyes widen. It's so divine it literally melts their stress away. They can't stop eating. Ban gently calls Ruthie over, and her hunger finally defeats her fear. She tries a bite and is instantly captivated, describing it as the very soul of the fruit. Dako licks her fingers, satisfied. She feels a surge of energy and a sense of pure euphoria. That elixir is straight up bank, but Ben shrugs it off, reminding her that teammates always share the loot. It's just a small token of gratitude for the kindness she showed him when he needed it most. Still, the girl feels burdened by the gift. Suddenly, Ben stands, declaring she can pay him back with martial arts. Without a second's delay, the duo teleports, instantly appearing within the stark walls of a massive training hall. Surveying the area, the girl notes it's more than enough room. Meanwhile, Ben realizes this place is something special. The facility seems to react to the subconscious mind. Since they ditched dinner for this, he's ready to begin. He asks for the first lesson. Dako nods, her wooden sword suddenly blurring into a lethal high-speed whirlwind. Stay put and watch closely, she commands. Dropping into a low stance, the atmosphere around her shifts instantly. She lunges forward her blade, creating a devastating shockwave of air that leaves our boy completely frozen in place. That's a thrust, she explains. It felt superhuman, yet in that split second, Ben felt a new concept awakening. The idea of absolute penetration seizes his mind. He wonders why this specific sensation is screaming at his soul. It's the very soul of swordsmanship. Sensing his daze, she snaps at him, demanding to know if he's still awake. After a quick apology, she clarifies that a thrust has no limits. It's a fluid technique, with infinite variations. She's only teaching the foundation. Regardless of the form, only the raw intent and explosive force truly matter. Countless styles exist, but the core never changes. You must never forget the pure essence of the strike. Ben realizes she hasn't just learned the move, she's mastered its very soul. This is the peak of technique. When she offers him a turn, he steps up, warning her that his first attempt might look totally mid. She lets out a laugh, claiming her years of grinding would be meaningless if a rookie could copy her instantly. Before she can even finish her sentence, our boy explodes forward with a strike that defies all logic. Dako's jaw drops as she watches the wooden sword. Did this monster really just download her technique in seconds? Yet Ben isn't satisfied. He usually focuses on stacking different concepts, but now he sees a new path to power. Refining what he already knows could be the real key. He begins to question the nature of his own strength. Why did penetration resonate so deeply? Suddenly, the pieces clicked together, revealing a truth he hadn't seen before. Every strike must pierce the target, no matter the obstacle. He prepares to unleash everything in one single point. His blade tears through the atmosphere, igniting a near-sonic boom. Dako can only stare at him in total disbelief. Stop, she cries, worried he's pushing his body too hard. Ben exhales exhausted, just as system windows flood his vision. Confusion washes over him. His stats are surging upward, fueled only by a few swings of a wooden sword. His swordsmanship skill hits 20 a feat he couldn't achieve, even after slaughtering waves of goblins in the wild. While Ben processes the shock, the girl sighs, admitting she's never felt this defeated in her entire life. You've captured the pure essence, she admits. It's a formless style that can adapt to any weapon imaginable. Surprised by the high praise, Ben insists he was just following her lead. Her movements were just that profound. He felt the sheer depth of her mastery, wondering if any normal human could ever reach such a level. That's how he was able to lose himself in the flow. Hearing his intense praise, Dako's cheeks turn bright red. You shouldn't say such embarrassing things so casually, she stammers, looking away from his straightforward gaze. Our boy plays it cool, stating they're officially even now. However, Dako isn't ready to let him off so easily. She insists he still owes her for the private tutoring. When he asks what she wants, she just smiles wickedly. I'll collect the debt later, so be ready, she teases. With the session over, they head back for their lectures. As they teleport, Ben is stunned. He didn't realize this cold girl was capable of showing such human emotions. Back in the halls, a group of elite special class students spot the pink-haired Ruthie making her way back. One guy steps out, blocking her path and demanding to know her origins. Ruthie stares back, completely lost. Suddenly, another hand intervenes. Her friend steps up to defend her, reminding the bully they're all in the same class. The bully sneers, mocking them both. But before a fight breaks out, Ben teleports in with the emo girl. He spots the standoff and asks why they're loitering. The moment the other students see Dako, their confidence vanishes. They beat a hasty retreat. Ben turns to the blonde guy asking for the tea, but he remains dead silent. Moments later, the four of them are back in history class, listening, as the teacher explains the mysterious appearance. High up in the tower, while the professor drones on those same low-life students start snapping creep shots of Ruthie, they ruthlessly roast her tower-climbing dreams, sneering that she should just quit and find a mundane job instead. Even from a distance, Ben's crew catches every toxic word those punks are spitting. Our main character sighs, realizing trash exists in every world, yet he can't fathom why the professor remains silent. The noise becomes unbearable until Light suddenly snaps, standing up to demand silence so they can actually focus. The professor lazily warns the class to stay quiet before diving right back into his boring lecture. Ben and his friend are clearly unimpressed by his weak response, but their hands are tied for now. Emboldened, the bullies get even louder, shamelessly gossiping about the group's personal relationships. Light's fury finally peaks as his pencil snaps in two, but our boy quickly steps in to steady him. Light fumes, unable to stomach the disgusting rumors being spread about their innocent teammates. Ben knows a physical brawl right now is a total trap that they simply cannot afford to fall into. Direct confrontation would backfire, but that doesn't mean our hero hasn't planned a savage lesson for them. He smirks, revealing his phone screen. He's been live streaming their entire pathetic performance to YouTube this whole time. With a devious grin, Ben watches the view count climb as the public witnesses their true ugly colors. Justice is coming, and these clout chasers have no idea they are the main attraction of a massive cancel culture stream. As the punks keep running their mouths, the chat explodes with rage while praising Ruthie's legendary patience. Our main character even slapped on a viral clickbait title to ensure this downfall went absolutely global. It doesn't take long for the trolls to realize they are famous for all the wrong reasons as panic sets in. They scramble to find the lens, finally spotting Eve perched on a nearby wall, capturing every single second. The snake vanishes instantly, but the sudden chaos finally pushes the professor over the edge into total fury. He demands their names and boots them from the room before they can mutter a single pathetic excuse. They are slapped with a failing grade for the entire semester, yet Ben feels that is still way too light. Ruthie turns to our hero with a soft smile, gently telling him that this victory is enough for her. She thanks them for having her back while Ben tries to play it cool despite his pivotal role. He claims he didn't do much since he lacks their raw power, but his teammates know better. One ally admits feeling safe with Ben as class president, but their peace is shattered the moment they head outside. The bullies corner Light on campus, sending the pink-haired girl scurrying behind our boy for protection. Light's vibe shifts instantly, his eyes turning ice cold as he faces the aggressors with zero fear. 3 fuming bullies block his path, and one of them even draws a lethal blade in broad daylight. He demands answers, blaming the viral broadcast for nuking his semester scores and ruining his life. He rants about being the Academy's laughingstock, but our boy just watches the pathetic display with pity. Ben notes how everyone ignores the 3-on-1 ambush, realizing people from lower dimensions are treated like trash here. The thugs roar in anger, but Light just scoffs, calling them nothing more than uncultured barbarians. He refuses to talk unless they show some respect, which only fuels their mindless toxic rage. As they launch a verbal assault, Light's blade flashes out with blinding god-tier speed. In a blur, he cleaves through the bully's weapon, leaving Ben completely stunned by the sheer display of power. Mysterious glowing symbols swirl around, Light signaling that something ancient and unusual has finally awakened. With a shimmering blade pressed against the bully's throat, the punk collapses to his knees in pure terror. Light's crushing aura keeps him pinned as he demands the boy finally use a respectful tone. Our hero finds the shift terrifying, wondering how his friend's entire persona just flipped like a switch. It's as if the sword itself changed him, but as the tension fades, Light prepares to walk away. The bully remains paralyzed on the ground, completely broken by the overwhelming pressure. Light released. While another lackey screams in frustration, Danko observes the entire scene silently from the shadows. Light then turns to the teacher, calmly asking what the penalty is for jumping a classmate. The teacher looks caught off guard, explaining that the Academy actually encourages these impromptu sparring matches. When the boy argues he never agreed to duel, the instructor fires back with a cold, manipulative excuse. He claims Light was the first to brandish a weapon. Light snarls back, insisting he was purely acting in self-defense. He even challenges the professor, asking what any sane person would do in that chaos. In the back, Ben watches with a sinking feeling. Light looks completely unhinged, like he's losing himself. The blonde warrior stays aggressive, fuming and demanding an apology for the blatant disrespect and mockery. But the professor just wears a punchable, smug smirk. He nonchalantly claims he saw nothing. This pushes Light over the edge. He grips his hilt, ready to strike. Light screams in disbelief, ready to snap, until Rochelle suddenly intervenes with a sharp, lightning-fast flick to his forehead. That single strike shatters his trance. He howls in pain as Dako begins scolding him for his loud, reckless behavior. She blasts him for acting like a big shot just because he's holding some legendary cursed blade. Ben senses the suffocating pressure finally lift. However, the teacher is clearly disgusted by the entire pathetic display. He scoffs, labeling them bottom-tier trash before vanishing. Ben lets out a heavy breath, finally feeling the tension break. That was way too close, he mutters. Meanwhile, the silver-haired girl keeps laying into Light for his weakness. She points out how easily that divine weapon hijacked his emotions. Later, the squad gathers at the academy cafeteria. Ben breaks the silence, warning them that they'll be outcasts forever if they don't change their reputation fast. Light looks stunned, blinking in confusion as he asks if Ben is actually serious about their situation. Ben snaps back, reminding him that he wasn't the one picking a suicidal fight with a high-level professor. The blonde guy slumps, offering a weak apology while explaining he just wanted to fix the mess they were in. Ben isn't having it. He scolds him for targeting the teacher instead of the actual bullies who provoked them. He knows the old Light wouldn't be this impulsive. Something has shifted deep within his friend's soul. Ben's eyes drop to the sword. He demands the truth. Can Light actually handle that overwhelming power? Light bolts upright, desperate to prove himself. He swears he's in control, claiming he couldn't have passed the exams otherwise. He insists his outburst was just pure, raw frustration toward the instructor's blatant lies and corruption. Ben nods slowly. Lying is a deal-breaker for him too. He chooses to put his faith in his friend one last time. Light vows that today's disaster will never repeat itself. Dako just sighs, noting that his control looked pretty shaky. She admits seeing him get possessed by an object was terrifying. Shifting focus, she looks at the hero Ben. She remembers the teacher's warning. If they don't adapt, their lives at this academy will become a living nightmare. As their leader, she needs to know Ben's master plan. Ben stares into the distance, weighing the academy's corruption. The place is rotten. It's built on toxic bloodline supremacy and a disgusting hatred for anyone from the lower realms. The entire system is rigged against outsiders like them. It makes him wonder if they even stand a chance. He turns to the group with a sharp look, asking what's the fastest way to win over a massive crowd. Light suggests talking it out while Dako bets on raw power. Rochelle just looks lost. Ben rejects those basic answers. He smirks, aiming an imaginary camera at his squad. The secret weapon, their top-tier visuals and main character energy. Later at the training grounds, he reveals his play. They're starting a channel to broadcast their daily lives. In his world, public image is everything. If the students see them constantly, that hostility will eventually turn into familiarity. Familiarity breeds respect, and respect leads to total admiration. Light is confused. Why do they need to fight then? Ben clarifies that the content has to be authentic. This isn't a staged performance. It's a high-stakes, real-deal match. The cameras roll as the duel ignites. Rochelle tells Ben to relax, knowing exactly how to handle this. Sometimes a reality check is the only way to get serious. She effortlessly slams Light into the dirt while Ben records. She towers over him, taunting his weakness. Rochelle leans in masterfully, baiting his rage with a cold, calculated insult. She mocks how pathetic it is that a simple sword could dominate his mind so easily. The psychological warfare is working. She dares him to draw the blade, claiming it won't change the pathetic outcome. Light's vision goes red. He screams in pure fury, the provocation hitting every single one of his nerves. Ben keeps the lens focused, cheering him on for the sake of the clout. Rochelle, however, is still skeptical. She asks if this vlogging will actually stop the bullying. Ben admits change won't happen in a single night. But he tells her to imagine the look on their bullies' faces when they realize they aren't targets anymore, they're stars. If the world truly grasped their current power, they wouldn't dare dream of crossing them again. The girl finally deciphers his hidden intent, while the duo nearby clashes like sworn blood enemies. Our hero comforts Ruthie, insisting the outcome doesn't matter because her natural beauty is far more vital. Why waste such elegance on stress? Shocked by his words, she listens as he claims a radiant face. Only shines brighter with a smile. He praises her irresistible charm that could effortlessly captivate anyone anywhere. Ruining that with anxiety would be a tragedy. Blushing hard, the girl wonders to herself. His words always carry a heavy weight of sincerity. Meanwhile, the blonde guy desperately flees from Dako. Dako teases him, claiming she's just starting to sweat. Elsewhere, the pink-haired girl struggles with a hideous meal. She sobs that the dish looks too repulsive to touch. Unfazed, the hero keeps his camera rolling. He promises she'll adapt soon. Inspired by his vision, the squad launches their new channel called Rebellion. They start vlogging their chaotic daily lives, and the internet absolutely explodes with sheer disbelief. Fans wonder if it's all staged. One clip shows brutal combat while the next is board game madness. This wholesomeness flips their public image, leaving the audience begging for more. Checking their stats. Ben's jaw drops. 1,000 subscribers gained in a single day, naturally. Their viral hit is the blonde guy getting wrecked. Amidst the hype, Professor Yumina arrives with praise. She's stunned that across infinite dimensions, no student ever thought to dominate the media world before. By forging connections through entertainment, they've achieved something legendary. But today, the tower awaits. The professor questions their resolve as they prepare to finally breach the massive structure. The team is decked out in battle-ready gear, yet the hero notices something awkward. He's the only one still wearing his school blazer, musing on his peaceful past before choosing this path. Survival is the only option now. Steely-eyed, he claims his gear will suffice. Suddenly, the professor carves a massive, glowing arcane crest onto the ground. Instantly, they warp to the tower. The crowd gasps, recognizing the viral stars behind the rebellion channel. Shockwaves ripple through the onlookers. Yumina reveals the tower's gates have been active since dawn. Usually entry goes by grade, but their legendary status earns them a VIP skip to the front. Old enemies lurk in the masses, but their malice has turned into fandom. Some are even loyal subscribers now. Still, Dako senses danger. Some students are staring daggers, their eyes burning with pure, unadulterated bloodlust. Our hero nods, knowing the legendary climb begins today. He can't shake the looming thought that very soon, he must duel Ereto. He has to grind until that stone-clad titan can't even graze his skin. Gathering the squad, Yumina suggests a quick raid before the weekend hits. But the final call isn't hers. Since they're the ones risking it all, she lets them lead, asking for their estimated time of completion. Ben locks eyes with his team. 2 nights and 3 days, he declares, sensing their shared resolve. The professor smirks at their confidence, offering a final warning as they step into the abyss. "Watch me," he whispers to his ancestors. Rewind to a few hours ago before the chaos began. Our lead asks Yumina if they can document the raid. He wants every intense moment captured on film. While the droid films the carnage, he focuses on surviving. Yet the professor questions the point of it. The tower is a shifting labyrinth. Can you even record a place that rewrites itself? Ben freezes. Light scans the manual, confirming the tower's fluid nature. Worse yet, tech tends to fry in there instantly. Tech fails fast there. It's eerie. Yumina then reveals the tower's inner mechanics. Every floor is a maze. Conquer the boss or bypass the traps to trigger the next phase. Rooms merge in a phenomenon called shifts. Survive more shifts, and you'll plunge deeper into the unknown. So, the world literally moves beneath our feet. Our hero asks, his mind racing with the possibilities. Yumina confirms it. Once you leave a room, there's no turning back. The blonde warrior's brow furrows. Do the threats evolve too? He asks. Every new room spawns deadlier beasts and more lethal traps. Dako drops a bombshell. What if we die in there? The room goes cold as reality sinks in. Silence falls. The squad realizes they hadn't planned for their own funerals. Yumina offers a grim smile. A fair point. She explains that death isn't always the end inside. Perish in some zones and you'll just respawn at the gate. Ben sighs in relief but wonders. Do we lose all our progress? Yumina points to their ID cards, the key to their journey. These cards log every shift. If you fall, you can jump right back into the fray later. Losing that card is a death sentence for your progress. Our hero grips his ID like a lifeline. It's just like a save point, he mutters. Light agrees revivals mean they can keep pushing their limits. Endless retries. Not quite. The emo girl interjects, noting the teacher's specific wording about some areas. Some zones are safe, but others. One wrong move, and it's game over for real. Precisely, Yumina warns. Fast forward, the real nightmare begins inside the tower. They clash with claw scythes, viscous horrors that literally devour any steel that touches them. The blonde brawler dives in headfirst while Dako obliterates them with lethal laser-like finger flicks. While they fight, our MC focuses on a nearby torch trying to manifest its elemental essence. Usually this is child's play for him, but an invisible force is suppressing his powers here. This restriction is his ultimate test. He will break this seal no matter what. Zoned out, the emo girl asks. He shakes it off, apologizing for being lost in his head. He failed to pull the flame. She sighs. Mastering that would have made them unstoppable gods here. Imagine controlling the tower's very fabric. Our hero laughs, telling her not to jinx him. Suddenly, a beast lunges from the shadows behind her. Death is inches away. A serpentine chain whips through the air, shredding the monster into digital dust instantly. She recognizes the snake artifact. Not bad, she admits, genuinely impressed by the lethality. With a roar, the chain lashes through the corridor, pulverizing the beast. Ban smirks, revealing his arsenal is far deadlier, but they're being way too loud. Hearing the racket, the girl notes that their current struggle is absolute chaos, especially with Light and Rutile's battle cries. She points out that in real combat, stealth is king. Yet here they are attracting every monster in the vicinity with their noise. After screaming their hearts out, the squad finally wipes the first room clean. Suddenly, the vibe shifts. The emo girl detects a massive surge of energy. Is it an elite? Our protagonist already has it figured out. Activating his eyes of infinite reading, he locks onto the target. He commands the pink-haired girl to strike the obelisk. She lunges forward, shattering the structure instantly. Light is left speechless. They neutralized the beast before it could even fully manifest. They even scored an enhancement core. As she claims the prize, our boy calls out, noticing something bizarre about her appearance. When she turns, he sees her hair has completely shifted colors. He realizes her power is fueled by a concept called the heart furnace. She literally burns her own emotions for raw strength, true berserker energy. If her hair changes fully, the transformation could reach terrifying levels. Rutile nervously asks if she looked like a monster just now. He offers a warm smile, reassuring her. They need her strength, yet she still fears losing herself. Dako cuts through the tension, telling her to quit overthinking and stop being so anxious. Coldly, she adds that if Rutile becomes a threat, she'll end her personally. Everyone is stunned. Rutile trembles in fear. Ban immediately snaps back, reminding the emo girl that a single death means a total party wipe and a forced restart. But she doesn't care. She argues that they'll likely lose people climbing this tower anyway. In fact, she boldly suggests that just the two of them should ditch the group. The hero sees the fear in Rutile's eyes. He steps up as the class prez, promising to find a path where everyone survives. Her face lights up with hope. Naturally, this earns him a simp label from Dako. Finally, they ascend to the second floor. The blonde guy stares at the grass unimpressed. It looks just like the floor below. Meanwhile, our boy inspects that elite monster core. The knowledge gain here is insane. One room in this tower outweighs 100 dungeon runs. He siphons the acid and fusion attributes perfect for melting through any defense. He buffs his blade with fusion while letting his pet feast on the leftover acid. The emo girl teleports to his side, noting how fast Eve is evolving. He nearly jumps out of his skin, yelling at her for the jump scare. Suddenly, Light spots red markers everywhere. Incoming, he warns, just as a blinding laser vaporizes the horde. Dako shrugs, unimpressed by the second floor's difficulty. She wonders if these mobs are even a threat. These monsters are actually soul eaters that feast on human mana. Seeing her so cocky, Light warns that overconfidence is the quickest way to end up dead. Annoyed, she suggests letting Ban clear the entire floor solo to prove his worth. Our boy is caught off guard, while the rest of the team worries it's a suicide mission. But she insists he needs the XP for the upcoming duel. It's the ultimate training arc. He realizes she's right. Stepping forward, he accepts the challenge, ready to lead the charge. His friends are hesitant, but he's determined to evolve. He asks them to watch his flank. They reluctantly agree. Ban looks at Dako, asking if she'll actually help him if he collapses. With a mysterious smirk, she promises not to let him die from exhaustion. Summoning Eve, he transforms his pet into a sleek firearm. The hunt begins. He unleashes a hail of bullets, shredding spirits left and right. The squad is floored. Light wonders if this technology is from another world, and how it would change their country. Dako watches intensely, noting that his weapon is more than enough for these low-level mobs. Mastery of this style belongs to elite assassins, though its linear trajectory thrives most in long-range skirmishes. In these cramped quarters, death hides in every blind spot. Just as that chilling thought crosses her mind, a sinister phantom materializes behind Ban, lunging for his throat. His allies scream a frantic warning, sensing danger, but the beast is already airborne. In a blur, our hero spins, cleaving the monster in two with one strike. Utterly floored by the display, the blonde warrior questions the blade. Ban looks back, totally lost and confused. So he clarifies he's talking about that god-tier swordsmanship. Ban plays it off coolly, trying to act humble, claiming he still can't match the guys or that stoic emo girl. Danko smirks, proud of her student's progress. Advancing like a whirlwind, the hero blends gunfire with cold steel, mashing through the remaining spectral horde. Finally, one lone survivor remains. Ban lets his pet bind it, suggesting a breather before the final kill. Knowing the next shift triggers immediately after. Nearby, the emo girl notices Ban's sword is literally evaporating into mist. She realizes he's already flexing that new ability. Observing his combat style, she's struck by how efficiently he fights. It's baffling how someone from a peaceful world evolves this fast. Light showers our hero with high praise for manipulating the shift's timing, calling the performance absolute fire. The pink-haired girl chirps in that his strategy screams pro-tier veteran vibes. Even the legendary Danko nods, calling his finishing move straight up exquisite. But she adds that sharpening his speed would make him truly unstoppable. He needs to move faster than the eye. Still, she admits he's leagues above those mindless brutes who swing their blades without a single brain cell. Light catches feelings and snaps, wondering why he's being called mid when he put in the work too. She coldly clarifies she never named him specifically, leaving him questioning his own life choices as they bicker. Ignoring the chaos, our boy pulls a cold one from his inventory, popping the tab with a relaxed smile. He jokes that despite the literal dungeon raid, everyone seems way too energized for a much-needed break. The squad stops dead, staring at his drink. They demand to know what secret juice he's gatekeeping from them. Panicking slightly, Ban shows off the can, explaining it's just a common item from the outside world. Light's jaw drops. Only Ban can traverse between worlds while they're trapped here. Ban tells them to chill out, explaining he only packed a few cans meant for a quick stamina boost when the grind gets exhausting. Hearing that the emo girl suddenly claims leadership for the next floor, the hero is left scratching his head, since she literally told him he had to solo carry to grow. Regardless, they finish the monster and dive in. Taking a second to breathe, Ban scans his internal status. What he sees leaves him absolutely floored, realizing he's already hit the Academy's average level. All that from just a few hours of swinging a blade. His blade mastery and piercing stats are skyrocketing. With a high-stakes duel approaching in a few days, he doubles down on grinding his swordsmanship. He then sighs, measuring the massive power gap between himself and Eretos, a 200-point chasm that seems impossible to bridge in 1 week. But hope isn't lost. Danko's grueling training finally clicked, sparking a moment of pure clarity. He now realized that while unlocking OP skills is vital, the real power is forged through the endless grind of mastery. Suddenly, a daring thought struck. Should he request one last secret? He realizes relying on her too much might mess up their dynamic. He needs to stand on his own. Suddenly, a shout breaks his trance. The blonde guy yells as gravity decides to quit on them. He and Ruthie are suddenly free-falling into the abyss. Panic sets in as the floor beneath them vanishes completely. Looking down, Ban sees a forest of sharp spears. He instantly summons Eve, shifting her into a chain, snatching the pink-haired girl from the jaws of death. She's trembling but safe as Ban exhales in relief. Realizing she almost became a human kebab, the girl stammers a thank you while Ban surveys the chaos. He suspects this trap is part of the shift, but the sheer scale of this death trap room is insane. Out of nowhere, the emo girl's voice echoes nearby, telling him to get his head in the game. He looks up and sees her standing on a safe ledge. She warns that hanging there is suicide. Right on cue, a volley of spears whistles through the air toward him. Trapped mid-air with Ruthie, our boy quickly executes a summon, calling Lilith to yank them out of the kill zone at high speed. Seconds later, their previous spot is peppered with arrows. He lands, clutching the girl close, checking her vitals. Face turning crimson, she fumbles for words, while the hero apologizes for his aggressive save. Safety comes first, and the stakes are just too high. She reassures him with a nod, but the peace is short-lived. He commands her to grip tight as a hail of arrows whistles through the air. Elsewhere, Light is currently dancing with death as spinning axes swarm him. Suddenly, golden wings erupt from his back, launching him skyward. Slicing through the metal rain, he's totally baffled. Their instructor swore these lethal traps wouldn't even appear until room 20. They're barely in room 3, yet the difficulty is already hitting insane levels. This sudden escalation makes no sense at all. He spots Ben roaring past on his air bike with Ruthie, and wonders what kind of cheat code his friend pulled out now. No matter where Ben swerves, the dungeon keeps spawning fresh nightmares. Clutching his waist, Ruthie recalls his earlier warning. She hugs him tight, sending a wave of heat across Ben's back that makes him blush hard. Suddenly, a massive impact rocks the bike. The strike forces the bike to redline, and our hero realizes the situation is spiraling into total chaos. A relentless storm of spears and daggers tails them, but then a blinding golden radiance catches Ben's eye. The light acts like a magnet for the projectiles. As he slows down, Ben realizes it's his buddy, Light, looking like a literal angel. Ben's stunned by the wings, but Light is equally shocked by the futuristic hoverbike Ben is flexing. Ben explains the mechanics of the airbike, leaving Light looking completely lost. The name alone seems to fly right over his head. Cutting the chatter, Ben asks about Dako's whereabouts. Light realizes he hasn't seen their fierce teammate since the ambush began. Could she be trapped somewhere? Ben immediately shuts that thought down, knowing she isn't that easy to catch. Our main character is certain she's nearby, and he's right. Dako is currently navigating the danger zone with elite precision. Ghosting through traps like a shadow she moves, while the rest of the squad regroups in the air to push forward. Light asks for the next move. Ben explains that the rules are simple: stay alive until the timer hits 0. He's not sure how long they have to hold out, so he suggests a flank maneuver to study the trap patterns. His friend agrees and dashes off instantly, triggering a massive barrage of incoming arrows. Ben notices something suspicious. The room seems to be hard targeting. Light. He realizes the traps are movement-based. Moving recklessly was a huge mistake. Just as the realization hits, he realizes they shouldn't have been so impulsive. Ruthie taps his shoulder and points toward an arrow, embedded deep in the bike's frame, her eyes wide with worry. Fueling his frustration, Ben rips the projectile out. He needs to warn everyone to stop moving before things get worse. But how can they clear the room by standing still? Suddenly, the arrow in his hand begins to glow strangely. A strange energy flows into him. Ben is shocked because his skills were supposed to be locked on floor 1. There has to be a hidden logic to this madness. To find out, he decides it's time for a live experiment. Reaching for a nearby blade, he doesn't just take its form, he absorbs the very concept of decapitation. It's a mind-blowing revelation. In this dungeon, the physical appearance is just a shell for a deeper essence. While Ben is deep in thought, Rutile screams. Light has been swallowed by a gargantuan tidal wave. Soaked to the bone and gasping for air, Light curses his own lack of focus for letting the wave catch him. This isn't normal water. It's laced with something that's blurring his vision and numbing his very soul. Sensing his weakness, the room doubles down, aiming a lethal volley of traps directly at the immobilized fighter. Ben guns the engine, diving into the fray. He drops Ruthie off with a quick apology for the reckless stunt he's about to pull. She nods, telling him to stay strong, her voice trembling because she knows the sheer danger ahead. Our hero charges into the torrent. The moment he touches the water, the truth reveals itself. He's not absorbing water. He's taking in the conceptual power of the wave itself. Everything finally makes sense. The essence depends on the intent. Since the traps aim for the neck, they carry the concept of execution, not just weapons. From her vantage point, Dako watches in awe as Ben blitzes toward Light like a man possessed. Ben understands now the concepts shift based on how the environment tries to kill them. Since the goal is death, the weapons carry the soul of the kill. A mountain of steel now closes in on Light. "I've got this," Ben shouts, stepping up and trusting his evolved eyes to see through the dungeon's lies. Light screams as Ben flies directly into the path of 1,000 blades, but our hero doesn't flinch. Seeing the bloodlust behind every flying blade, Ben focuses his mind and triggers his ultimate technique. He detonates a shockwave of energy, forming a massive circular barrier that halts the metal storm in its tracks. He siphons and fuses their core energy, taking just enough to shatter their physical vessels. A violent shockwave erupts, obliterating every weapon instantly as gale force winds howl through the air. Rutile snatches the shimmering dust mid-air, cheering as our hero sticks a perfect landing. Light sprints over to check on him, relief washing over Ben, seeing his comrade unscathed. "That was a total death flag," he admits. The blonde guy eyes the radiant sphere, demanding answers. Ben shrugs, guessing it is just a cocktail of every weapon forged into a single orb. Did he just unlock a secret skill? Before he can speak, more concealed traps spring to life. Blind-sighted and seconds from disaster, 2 blurs of speed streak across the battlefield to save them. They pulverize the projectiles with one blow. The emo girl scolds them, warning that stupidity has consequences. Still reeling from the chaos, the 2 boys offer their usual clumsy thanks for the save. Doko and the blonde guy trade insults, while Ben observes from afar, knowing their bond is deep. When the heat is on, they always have each other's backs. To him, that is peak teamwork. She smirks, admitting she waited for the final second, just to keep them in her debt. Ben prays their bond is not just a fluke. Suddenly, the world shifts as they warp to room 4. Surveying the room, Ben notes the low ceiling. At least they will not be flanked from above. No aerial strikes today. Without looking, he spins and blasts a monster creeping from the shadows. Out of thin air, a spider emerges. Light identifies the beast as a notorious tower spider. These rare pests spawn anywhere. To Ben's horror, his strikes barely leave a scratch on it. It parries every blow. His buddy explains that these arachnids have totally randomized, overpowered stats. His gear is useless here. It is time for Doko to carry the squad. She steps up, as Ben laments their rotten luck for encountering a boss-level threat so soon. She sighs at his face, ordering the team back. "Watch and learn," she commands him. She unleashes the very move he has been dying to, master a massive energy blast right at them. The beam incinerates the swarm instantly. Ben is shook. Her raw power puts his bullets to shame. With the spiders weakened, she leaves the scraps for Ben. He is momentarily baffled by the gesture. She chuckles, claiming no ruler is more generous than her. Ben cannot help but laugh back. Requesting backup, he pushes forward, realizing Doko might not be the leader, but she is sharp. Her intuition is insane. As the swarm closes in, Ben feels the pressure of the moment mounting. Yet he is thankful for the lessons. Light and Rutile watch their faces etched with worry. His hands shake. His blade bounces off the spider's iron hide as it lunges for the kill. Recovering quickly, he knows every boss has a weakness. It is time to find a different angle. Mimicking the previous move, he drives his sword into the spider's skull, but it is not enough. Basic strikes will not cut it against this endless swarm. A realization finally dawns on him. He has bitten off more than he can chew. Then suddenly something clicks in his palm. The chop concept from the last room flashes in his mind. This is his perfect moment. He fuses the concept into his blade. Instantly, a barrage of system alerts floods his vision. The weapon has evolved. Fueled by perfect compatibility, he charges headfirst into the fray. He slices through a spider like butter. The group watches jaws dropped as the monster splits. Despite the clean kill, the blade feels strange. Did he push the evolution too far? Shifting his stance, he begins a surgical massacre. Realizing the danger, the team moves to assist. They dive in, while the emo girl watches silently questioning what he did to that blade. He was helpless seconds ago, but now he is carving them up like a total pro. He is carving a path with ease. She is stunned by his rapid growth and constant refinement. It is not just brute force. Most noobs swing blindly once they get a buffed weapon, but Ben is built different even if he has not truly mastered his full potential yet. She's convinced he'll reach the top alone. There is zero reason for her to meddle in his personal growth journey, but wasting such god-tier potential is a crime, especially after he survived those 3 legendary catastrophes. Back in her world, she reigned as the ultimate martial arts prodigy. Yet this guy's talent makes her past look mid. It's low-key infuriating. Right then she vows to claim him for herself no matter what it takes. Suddenly, our protagonist feels a lethal shiver crawl down his spine and scans the area with high alert. The blonde dude asks what's up, but our hero senses an elite-tier boss monster closing in on them. He spots the emo girl nearby and questions why she isn't spamming her signature energy blasts yet. She claims he's carrying the team just fine solo. Hearing that he hits her with a playful comeback, he teases that she's losing her special drink privileges as he dashes away, gripping the bottle tight. Suddenly, Light receives a priority ping. A split second later, the same alert hijacks every student's screen. Confusion spreads like wildfire. The headmaster's emergency broadcast is clear. Evacuate the tower immediately. The hero questions the chaos while Dako starts venting. This sudden retreat is totally ruining her vibe. She didn't even get to flex or taste that drink. Suddenly, Rochelle's scream pierces the air. Danger is incoming. The squad turns in horror as massive red rifts tear open, swarming with spiders. The nightmare unfolds. Now they understand why the headmaster sounded so desperate for them to escape. Light flashes back to Professor Yumina's briefing. This is exactly the crisis they were warned about. Their ID cards are dead. They're effectively locked in a death trap while a spider army charges. The hero recalls the professor's grim warning about the tower's lethal zones, where death is permanent. It's a spatial irregularity triggered by dimensional raiders. The professor made the stakes crystal clear. In this warped state, rooms become unpredictable labyrinths. The safety net is gone, and death is now very real. Normal logic is out the window. Every established rule of the tower is getting twisted into chaos. Safe zones erased. Monster density and room difficulty are spiking to insane, unplayable levels. Survival isn't guaranteed anymore. Realizing the gravity of the situation, our boy prepares for the worst. The crew smashes through a brick wall, desperate to find some breathing room to fight back. They're facing an infinite spider wave. Getting cornered in a tight space would be a death sentence. As the pink-haired girl triggers her Berserker mode, Dako notices the spider swarm is literally endless. A blue flash erupts as the emo girl deletes spiders with an energy beam. Light follows with relentless slashes. They're shredding monsters left and right. The emo girl has stacked bodies, but Light is hitting his limit. Meanwhile, Rutile's hair is turning jet black. If the darkness takes over completely, it's game over for everyone. Dako watches the pink-haired girl, realizing the monster inside her is starting to break its chains. Rutile is losing it. She admits she's reaching her breaking point and can't sustain this pace. If she doesn't cool down, things will get messy. Ben quickly slides her a refreshing energy drink. He tells her to take 5 while he mops up the trash. She just laughs at his audacity. She loves the confidence. Without blinking, our boy primes a shock bomb and hurls it into the swarm. Lightning arcs everywhere before a massive explosion incinerates the spiders. The blonde guy is absolutely floored. The hero flexes, mentioning the grind it took to craft that. Then he charges in on his bike. He tells Light to tag out. He glances at Rochelle, noticing she's still pumped but totally erratic. The monsters are infinite. He knows his only job now is to buy his squad some recovery time. Suddenly, a system window pops up. His sword is evolving in the heat of battle. The execution longsword's blood poison effect just leveled up. The blade glows a menacing crimson. He's not 100% sure how the poison scaling works, but it's time for a test. With one massive swing, he cleaves through distant spiders. The weapon's reach has expanded significantly. It's a massive power buff, but it's eating his stamina alive. Every strike feels like a blood sacrifice. He's running on fumes. The blonde guy spots the glowing blade and wonders what kind of buff that is. Looking back, Ban checks on the pink-haired girl. The others say she's currently busy atomizing the spiders. Seeing her unstable condition, the team keeps their distance. Ben orders the others to catch their breath. Light shakes his head, claiming he's fully recovered. Scanning the perimeter, his eyes widen as he spots. The spider swarm is thinning out. It's eerie, especially since those cursed portals are still wide open. Light mutters a grim warning. Either the nightmare is ending, or something far worse is lurking nearby. Mid-slaughter, Rutile freezes. A massive, suffocating pressure is bleeding out from one of the rifts. Light's hunch was dead on. A colossal arachnid monstrosity crawls out, casting a shadow over everything. Ben's jaw drops. High-level elites like this shouldn't spawn until floor 50, but reality hits hard. Light screams another warning. Ben spins around his blood, running cold at the sight of a second Titan. Panic sets in. They're trapped in a lethal pincer maneuver between two terrifying elite-grade monsters. Hemmed in from both sides, Light questions if their academy training was all just a lie. Theory fails them now. Suddenly, Rutile snaps her eyes, going blank, as she charges the beasts recklessly. Ben lets her go, knowing her frenzy is their only shot. He bellows out orders to Light. "Support her!" he yells. While Light assists, Rutile Ben pairs with Dako to face the other nightmare. With the teams divided, our hero squares off against the beast, his mind racing for a strategy. He acted tough for the squad, but doubts creep in. Can his poison and strikes actually pierce this Titan? As he hesitates, Dako's voice cuts through the tension, reminding him she's got his back in this fight. Ben's outmatched, yet he refuses to beg for backup. Dako wonders, is this legendary pride or just pure stupidity? She tosses his drink back, admitting it wasn't half bad. Now it's time to settle her tab. This move is overkill for a soda, she smirks, but consider this one, on the house hero. Ben watches her unsheathe, her blade confused. She could easily crush this thing with her bare fists. Catching his gaze, she shrugs. I just don't feel like getting spider guts all over my hands. Ben's speechless feeling a bit foolish. Meanwhile, Dako notes that Ben is missing a certain lethal edge. She'll demonstrate one technique. One perfect strike should be enough for him to grasp the true path. Keep your eyes peeled, she warns. But a bone-chilling scream from Light shatters Ben's focus instantly. Rutile has turned. Her berserk madness has consumed her, and she's lunging at Light with murderous intent. Friend and foe mean nothing to her now. Amidst the chaos, the Titan spider launches a sticky trap. Rutile dodges by instinct, leaving Light to get cocooned in thick, restrictive webbing. Ben watches in horror. Everything is spiraling into madness. As Rutile engages the beast again, Dako's sharp voice snaps Ben back. Pay attention, she commands. Ben stammers about the chaos behind them, but she doesn't care. Watch, she whispers. With one effortless arc of her blade, the massive spider is cleaved perfectly in two. Ben replays the motion. It looked so basic, just a simple upward swing, but the results were godlike. In that strike, he saw the ultimate end. System notifications begin screaming across his vision like wildfire. His brain throbs from the data surge. Witnessing such divine mastery has left him completely paralyzed with awe. His inner core stats skyrocket just from watching. This power, it's like the Ordamas field shattering all over again. But this is on a whole different level. It's a force that transcends mere physical strength. She literally cut through the concept of death. How can one person pack that much willpower into steel? The raw purity of her technique is both beautiful and bone-chilling. As Ben stands there dazed, Dako leans in, asking if he caught that. Her sudden proximity makes Ben's heart race for a different reason. He tries to play it cool, failing miserably. She tosses him the elite monster's glowing monocore. Take it, it's yours, she insists. Ben hesitates, feeling unworthy of a prize he didn't even earn. She won the kill, but won't take no for an answer. Suddenly, Light's muffled screams erupt from the webbing. Stop flirting and get me out of here, Light bellows. Meanwhile, Rutile has finished her own spider, but her bloodlust hasn't faded. Ben knows Light is helpless against her in his current state. He'd be crushed in seconds if he stepped in. Right now, Dako is their only hope to stop her. Dako scoffs, claiming she's fulfilled her quota. But Ben pleads, this situation is spiraling way beyond their control. The stakes are lethal. One wrong move here, and their very souls might vanish into the void. Dako spots the massive arachnid, still twitching nearby, and finally decides to intervene. Her price, Ben must execute the beast pinned under Rutile's boot. Before our hero can even blink, she uses her taunt to bait the pink-haired savage into a direct confrontation. It works perfectly, and the girl lunges like a starved predator, driven by pure animal instinct. However, our emo queen effortlessly dances around the assault, mocking her with every missed strike. As the clash intensifies, Dako clearly holds the upper hand, even though her opponent has fully embraced her berserk form. She casually lectures the girl mid-fight, telling her to stop swinging blindly and to maintain her focus without blacking out. Watching from the sidelines, Ben is floored by her dominance. She's taming a literal monster like it's child's play, almost as if she's savoring the thrill of the hunt. Noticing his distraction, she snaps at him to focus on his own life-or-death struggle. Our protagonist snaps back to reality, but dread washes over him as he faces the T-Tangent-class spider alone. Dako simply tells him to replicate the technique she used earlier. Ben's heart sinks. She's placing an impossible amount of pressure on his shoulders. Without warning, the dying spider lashes out with a jagged leg aimed straight for his vitals. Ben clears the attack by a hair's breadth, realizing that even on the brink of death, this nightmare fuel is still incredibly lethal. He growls, wondering if this bug truly believes it has a chance to take him down. Stealing his resolve, our boy decides to stop playing defense. He calls out to Eve, ready to unleash a coordinated strike. Obsidian chains erupt from shimmering portals, snaking around the spider's massive limbs until the beast is completely immobilized and unable to fight back. Light watches in absolute shock as the creature is bound tight. The emo girl glances back at the sudden shift, while Ben lunges forward to strike the paralyzed monstrosity. Even though it's pinned down, the spider thrashes its legs wildly, trying to impale him one last time. Our hero weaves through the chaos with newfound grace, closing the distance for a finishing blow. Knowing that with Eve's restraints holding firm, this is his best chance to end it. He imbues his blade with a dual layer of slash and poison energy, narrowing his gaze on a fatal weak point, where he can deliver a killing stroke. Reaching the target, he plunges his sword into the spider's maw, causing the creature to let out a soul-piercing shriek. Unfortunately, the damage isn't enough to drop the giant. Just yet, Dako realizes the strike was far too shallow. He needs to completely decapitate the beast to finish the job. Ben's mind races as he wonders why his attack failed. Suddenly, the realization hits him: the blood poison in his blade failed to trigger. By layering too many abilities at once, he accidentally throttled their power, a mistake he's never made in training. While he's processing the error, the spider shatters its chains and erupts in a counterattack right where he stands. His allies watch in horror as a massive cloud of dust swallows the battlefield. But as the debris settles, Ben is seen standing tall, having successfully parried the devastating blow. He drops to one knee, clutching his arm while gasping for air. In that heartbeat, time seemed to grind to a halt, giving him the split-second awareness needed to redirect the impact. Had he taken that hit directly, his sword and his bones would have been pulverized. He's left wondering how his timing became so god-tier. For a fleeting moment, the world moved in slow motion. He begins to question if he truly absorbed the essence of Dako's high-level technique. Suddenly, a golden system notification flickers into existence, announcing that by deflecting a lethal blow, he has mastered the concept of flow, instantly boosting it to level 5. Our hero realizes that Dako's earlier strike was a catalyst, awakening a dormant martial instinct deep within his soul. Even if he can't mimic her perfectly, he now understands the rhythm of battle. Ben squares up, daring the spider to come at him. The blonde guy watches in awe, realizing that Ben is now parrying every single incoming strike with impossible precision. It's a masterclass technique that turns an enemy's own momentum into a glaring opening for a counter. In a real deathmatch, this style is suicidal for a novice, yet the hero is pulling it off despite being a total beginner. Advancing through the storm of attacks, our boy focuses on deflecting frontal thrusts and altering the trajectory of side swipes. His confidence surges as he begins to see every movement in high definition. Meanwhile, the pink-haired savage charges Dako, but her strikes meet nothing but air. Dako sidesteps with chilling calm, causing the girl to stumble. Watching the hero, she realizes her earlier display helped him awaken something profound. The art of flow control is a legendary skill back in her world that very few can ever dream of mastering. Redirecting a killing blow at the final microsecond requires superhuman reflexes and absolute mental clarity. It's a high-risk, high-reward gamble that most warriors avoid. Opting for safer methods, even someone as skilled as her, who has spent a lifetime refining this very technique. A complete paradigm shift. Dako questions if this simple trick held such hidden depth. It looked basic, but as she admires him, the pink-haired girl finally snaps out of it. Dako acknowledges her flaws with a thanks, yet she realizes the hero can't win like this. Just parrying isn't enough. To claim victory, he must weaponize the enemy's momentum against them. By fusing the spider's brute force with his own, a lethal strike becomes possible. Ben pivots with the impact, funneling the beast's raw power directly into his counterswing. His blade carves through the spider's skull, bisecting the monster. His allies watch in pure disbelief. He actually did it. The behemoth collapses, its life force utterly spent as it breathes its last. Ben slumps down while system notifications explode, showering him with rare concepts and victory spoils. His core level skyrockets. As his stats surge, he feels a strange resonance deep within. A fundamental shift rewrites his internal code. Suddenly, his friend checks if the threat is neutralized. He needs backup too, while Dako urgently begs Ban to look after Ruthie. Annoyed, Ban grumbles about their high expectations after he barely survived that elite monster. The blonde guy apologizes, blaming his sealed magic. Meanwhile, a new realization hits the group. Dako vents about the monster's endless stamina, wishing she'd been restrained like their useless comrade. Ban gets a brilliant, crazy idea. He focuses his gaze on the binding light. He analyzes the chain's binding concept, planning to feed it to Eve. The chain net manifests. Ban hurls it at the fuming girl. She's caught off guard as the glowing links bind her. He warns that resistance is futile. These chains are designed to drain her mana dry. The sight is awkward for everyone. Light even shields his eyes, refusing to look. He insists it is improper. Dako tells them to quit, acting weird, and focus. The battle is over, but the gateway to the 5th room still hasn't opened. The chains help the girl regain her sanity. Better yet, their student IDs finally reactivate. Time to bail. Suddenly, a crimson aura swirls as a cryptic voice echoes through the chamber. They freeze in shock. The voice commends them for conquering the grueling trial. It offers a contract with the thousand-eyed observer. Cut to the world outside the tower walls. Professor Yumina is pacing nervously. Her students are way overdue and her anxiety is spiking. A blinding teleportation array erupts. She shields her eyes as the 4 students finally materialize. Ban confirms everyone's status. Relief washes over Yumina as she sprints toward her safe students. She frantically inspects them for injuries. Ban calmly assures her they're all in one piece. He tells her to breathe. Yumina explains that an emergency recall was broadcasted earlier. Their silence terrified her. When she probes about the events inside, Ban grows visibly tense. He suggests finding a more private spot. Once isolated, the real conversation begins. He reveals the tower's horrors and asks about the outside chaos. Yumina bows her head solemnly. An intruder murdered a student. While the academy scrambles, the victim's teammates are beyond devastated. This tragedy triggered the tower's malfunctions. She brings up the dark legend of dimensional pirates. If these pirates steal an ID, revival becomes impossible. The student is erased forever, trapped in eternal limbo. Ban asks about the killer, but they have already vanished into shadows. Dako notes that this wasn't random. It smells like a meticulously calculated hit. These outsiders hunger for the tower. Freshman groups provide the perfect vulnerable targets. They slaughter students to ruin the school's reputation and steal their path to power. Stolen IDs become their golden tickets to ascend the tower under false pretenses. Coldly, the academy views these lethal encounters as just another trial for the students. Dako questions this cruel negligence. Even Yumina is left speechless by the harsh truth. She knows Dako is right. The girl continues, her voice dripping with cold reality. Shadowy intruders breach the tower's defenses, yet the academy is powerless to stop the student body count from rising. Despite its top-tier reputation, the professor defends the school against fierce backlash, claiming they do protect their own. However, she clarifies a cold truth once inside the tower: your life is your own responsibility. If the tower chooses to side with pirates over students, the faculty's hands are completely tied. It's the tower's sovereign will, a pathetic excuse that sends Dako into a silent, vengeful fury. Hating the idea of being a pawn to fate, she warps away before the lecture can continue. Ben steps in, explaining that something deeply sinister was lurking in those shadows. He drops the bombshell they encountered: a constellation, a transcendental being, of pure power. These godlike observers watch over every dimension, hunting for pawns with high potential. They offer cracked abilities and legendary gear, but the price is absolute, unwavering loyalty. In a world where power is the only law, almost nobody is crazy enough to say no. These beings are the ultimate flex, and turning one down is basically unheard of. The hero describes the chilling, otherworldly voice that offered him godhood for a price. Instead of being worried, the professor's eyes gleam with pure hype and excitement. Meeting a constellation on your first day is a legendary feat that breaks every school record. It means the hero's talent is already on a whole different level. Anne is completely floored. He then asks the million-dollar question: what does the academy actually think of these shady deals? Officially, they promote natural growth, but unofficially, they tell you to grab that power and run. The tower is where these gods focus their gaze, making it the ultimate stage for climbers. But our boy isn't buying it. His gut tells him something is seriously wrong here. How can he trust a school that fails to defend its students but buddies up to monsters? The professor's tone shifts as she asks what the entity specifically wanted from him. With a dead serious look, he reveals the horrifying truth: it demanded a ritualistic murder. The professor freezes in shock. He explains the entity offered a contract to both of them. The catch: one of them had to kill the other to prove they were worthy. It whispered about hot blood, urging them to butcher their companion to reach the tower's summit. Our hero internally scoffs at the idea, refusing to trade his humanity for a power-up. But as he looks at the emo girl, he realizes she's reaching a breaking point. Dark, chaotic energy swirls around her as she screams at the invisible watcher to vanish. Professor Yumina realizes Dako must have unleashed a massive mana burst to drive it away. Ben confirms she forced the being to retreat, disgusted by how these gods play with lives. Due to the high-level threat, the tower is officially locked down for an entire week. The academy plans to purge any remaining intruders while they monitor the shifting mana. Ben realizes his time is ticking. With the tower closed, his training just got much deadlier. He offers to write a full report on the nightmare they just survived. She agrees, but wants a face-to-face debrief from the entire team once the dust settles. Recognizing the mental toll of the encounter, she finally orders them to go and rest. She praises their survival skills, promising to double down on the school's security measures. She hopes they won't lose faith in the Union Academy after such a traumatic first day. But as the group heads out, the professor pulls the hero aside for one last talk. She asks if the observer just picked 2 random people, or if it specifically targeted them. The hero stands frozen, as the terrifying truth finally clicks into place in his mind. The entity wasn't just causing drama, it was trying to refine the group by force. It wanted him and the emo girl to prune the weak members to reach their peak potential. Back at the dorms, he finds Light still passed out on the couch, totally clueless. He tries breaking the ice with a joke, mocking that even Ruckle couldn't strike a pose that awkward. Silence meets his banter. Just as he turns to leave, his friend's voice cuts through, asking if he's being mocked, teased for his unheroic posture. As Ban looks on confused, the blonde swordsman confesses he's simply venting his inner frustration. He invites Ban to hurl insults freely. Our hero declines baffled, earning a sarcastic smirk and a biting question from Light. Is he not even worth insulting? The arrogance that usually defines him has vanished, leaving our protagonist completely blindsided and lost. Light looks up, admitting his resentment. Irritation flares within Ban, and for a split second he nearly snaps back with venom. He bites his tongue to keep the peace. Taking a seat, he urges his friend to spill whatever is weighing him down, no matter how bitter the grievance. After a heavy silence, Light reveals that back home he was hailed as a genius. Drowned in praise and high expectations, he was gifted a legendary holy sword before embarking on his journey to the academy. His people demanded he seize the tower's power, becoming the ultimate shield that would safeguard their entire world from destruction. Bound by duty, he forged a pact with his blade, arriving at the academy solely to satisfy everyone else's desperate desires. But now he's drowning in doubt. Why is he here? Why is a prodigy like him being cast aside as dead weight? Ban tells him to ignore that entity's manipulation. Light scoffs, arguing that regardless of whether the being is a god or not, it handpicked them, not him. Beside the chosen ones, he feels like nothing more than a pathetic anchor dragging everyone down. These cosmic entities wield power and wisdom that dwarf human comprehension. Their authority is absolute and terrifying. Defying them seems impossible, yet Ban stands firm. He insists their twisted deal is flawed and that other paths to power exist. Strength doesn't require murder. He calls it absolute nonsense, but Light counters that only a genius could afford such naive optimism. That confidence stems from raw talent. Light admits that if he were offered that dark deal, he might have actually faltered. To sacrifice everyone. He lacks the resolve of Ban or Danko. He wouldn't have been able to walk away so easily. The thought that he might have agreed fills him with self-loathing. Seeking clarity, Ban heads off to clear his head. Returning, he finds Light passed out. As Ban moves to leave, a quiet apology drifts from the bed for his earlier outburst. He confesses his envy, admitting it wasn't Ban's fault. With a warm smile, our hero reminds him that they're true brothers. Friends can vent whenever they need to. Ban announces his departure, leaving a warm cup of cocoa as a silent peace offering. A little sweetness to wash away the bitterness of the day. Light whispers his thanks as Ban steps into the hallway. He marvels at Light's transformation since their first encounter. Suddenly, Danko's piercing gaze locks onto him from across the corridor. While he's lost in thought, she teleports directly into his personal space, nearly sending his soul out of his body. He questions her presence in the men's wing, but she shushes him. Secrets are only problems if they're actually caught right. She drags him out using his own towel. Once they're settled under the stars, she begins interrogating him about his blonde roommate. She bluntly labels him the burden. Ban winces, questioning why she'd use such a harsh, cold title for their ally. Danko ruthlessly deconstructs his failures. He's just a mindless sword swinger who lacks any real spark of genius or tactical adaptability. Ban jumps to his defense, citing his potential and hard-earned skills, but she shuts him down with a devastating rebuttal. His power is a lie. It belongs to the blade. His physique, his moves, they're all just borrowed gifts from that holy steel. Stripped of his weapon, he's nothing. She lists his mental flaws, how he freezes up and fails to read the battlefield correctly. Zero confidence, constant hesitation. She warns that in this high-stakes game, one broken spirit could drag them all into the abyss. If Light snaps under the pressure, their entire alliance crumbles. Being a team becomes pointless if one member is dead weight. Rukel's silence only adds to the tension. Ban can't tell if she's just being a hater or if she's genuinely concerned. Is this concern masked by cruelty? He pauses, then flips the script, asking how she's actually holding up herself. He caught her acting strange around that divine entity. The irritation she felt afterward was written all over her face. Flustered, she stammers, asking if he's actually worried. Did he use some hidden skill to read her mind or something? Ban shrugs. No skills needed when her expression is already telling the whole world exactly how she feels. Handing her a drink, he asks if she's truly okay. Danko accepts it, realizing this is his clumsy way of comforting her. She mumbles that it's sweeter than expected, offering a rare, genuine thanks for his concern for her well-being. It's nothing serious, she insists, just a moment of annoyance. But when he pushes for the real cause of that anger, as a witness to infinite timelines, she wonders if they're both thinking the same dark thought. Fear suddenly grips Ban's heart. He demands an explanation. She coolly replies that at their very core, their conclusions are exactly the same. If those losers were baggage, she'd have cut them loose. Ben reels, chilled by her cold-blooded mercenary logic. What are you saying, he demands. Darko bristles, frustrated that her own hesitation stopped her from being radical. Abandoning them to rot would have been cleaner. That dark realization fuels a bitter self-loathing rage within her soul. Hearing her admit such a ruthless possibility, Ben drains his drink and locks eyes with the shadow girl. He scoffs. If she actually buys into that edgy logic, then she's just as delusional as the rest. The jab hits home. Her face flushes crimson, realizing she just leaked her deepest, darkest secrets to this guy. Is he serious? She fires back, demanding to know if he genuinely thinks those scrubs have any real potential. Ben doesn't flinch. If they were talentless hacks, they'd have been dead long before reaching this floor. Light's a natural prodigy with steel, but he's become a total slave to that holy blade's overwhelming power. That crutch blinded him to his own fatal flaws. And Rukia, she's trapped in the exact same boat. She's got beastly raw strength, but her internal demons are keeping that monster on a tight leash. It won't be a cakewalk. But if they hunt down their own weaknesses and crush them personally, their growth will eclipse our wildest dreams. Darko stays quiet, letting the weight of his words sink in. She rises the tension thick. Fine, I'll bet on your intuition. For now, she mutters, eyes narrowing. If the results prove you right, I'll back down. Ben smirks. So you're finally joining the squad. If they actually evolve and shatter their limits, she'll eat her words and admit he was right. But if they fail, you're taking the fall. Ben blinks, stunned by the heavy stakes she's just dropped. She warns him to reconsider. He's asking her to dump her common sense to babysit a bunch of fools. Without waiting for a rebuttal, she vanishes into the night. Tomorrow morning. Don't be late, hero. Ben's jaw drops. They literally just crawled out of the tower, and she's already demanding a morning grind. Sunrise hits, and Ben finds Darko already wiping the floor with Light. Suddenly, her fist connects hard. Light ragdolls toward Ben, looking like a total mess. Help, you said we'd train, not get murdered. He's getting absolutely demolished. Before Ben can intervene, Darko stomps the ground, her patience reaching its breaking point. Stop being a clown, she barks. In real combat training, tasting dirt is just part of the job description. He lacks Ben's insane mimicry skills. If he wants to survive, he needs to quit whining and stand up. Light begs for his blade, but she shuts him down. No sword until he learns to fight with his hands. Ben interjects, telling Light to shut his brain off and just trust the process. Privately, though, this was way more brutal than he anticipated. Stealing his resolve, Light nods and dives back into hell. The second they resume, Darko's boot connects squarely with his jaw in a lightning-fast, brutal blur. Wide open, she taunts, ruthlessly dismantling him. His defense is non-existent, and she's making him feel every mistake. She tears his stance apart, demanding he lock his eyes on her every movement. No blinking allowed. I know that. Light groans. She punts him across the field. Knowing isn't doing, you pathetic amateur. Fix it. She mocks his pathetic reflexes. Ben watches, realizing she's right without that blade. Light is a sitting duck. Usually he carves through monsters like butter. Now, his combat power is draining away like a leaking faucet. Without the steel, he's hollow. His dependency is a terminal illness. Darko, meanwhile, isn't letting him breathe. Are you just a handle for that sword? She sneers. Light yells. No, but she just keeps the pressure on. She calls him a useless fraud. Infuriated, he snaps back, but she just challenges him to actually prove it. Stop reaching for a ghost, she screams. Suddenly, a primal roar erupts from Light's throat, shaking the air. His form shudders and shifts, his hair lengthening as a violent surge of divine power explodes from his core. He lunges with a devastating strike. Darko barely evades the shockwave. The squad watches, jaws on the floor. Their golden boy has turned into a girl. Darko stares, stunned, into a rare moment of absolute silence. Just as she opens her mouth, massive energy swirls around. Light, a blinding holy cross, burns into his chest. Light collapses, gasping as the light flares. Ben moves to help, but Darko blocks him. Wait, he's fine. But this mess won't be an easy fix. Steam rises from his skin as the holy energy sizzles. Light flickers back to his normal self. Darko towers over him. Do you get it now? Panting, Light nods. You were right. Light is hitting his absolute limit. Panting heavily, he begs for just a few more rounds to push past his boundaries. Darko finally breaks the tension, offering a rare apology for completely misjudging his character during their earlier encounter. Light brushes it off with a smirk, noting that this brutal training session is exactly what he needed to level up. She confesses that she initially wrote him off as a total loser, but now she sees the terrifying truth. He is a literal, walking time bomb. She just prays he doesn't explode and take the entire tower down with him. Meanwhile, Rutile turns to Ban, suggesting they start their own practice. But our hero is completely zoned out. She snaps him back to reality, but Ban is reeling from the sight of holy and demonic energies clashing together. Those powers are polar opposites. Seeing them coexist in one single vessel defies every law of magic he knows. This chaotic contradiction is clearly causing Light's instability, and Ban vows to confront him privately in their room later. Shaking off the heavy thoughts, he apologizes to Rutile for ghosting her while he was trapped deep inside his own head. She reassures him with a smile and invites him to spar. But as the words leave her lips, his stomach drops. He flashes back to her terrifying beast form and gulps, wondering if this is actually a death wish. Rutile admits it's risky. However, she trusts him to shut her down if she goes berserk. Despite her nerves, she's desperate to master her inner monster. She's tired of being a liability and wants to finally be an asset. Together, they head over to grab some wooden blades. Ban senses a new fire in her eyes today. Yesterday's trauma clearly pushed her to a massive breaking point. He flips her a practice sword, suggesting a low-key spar that won't attract too much unwanted attention. They need to keep it chill compared to the chaos next to them. Rutile nods, locking in her focus for the duel. Before they clash, Ban realizes this is the peak anime protagonist moment he used to fantasize about back in college. His nerdy dreams are finally manifesting in reality, all thanks to the chaotic life of a high-tier adventurer. He tells her to bring it on, full of hype. But the moment she taps into her beast aura, his confidence vanishes. Panic sets in instantly. Within minutes, the training ground is swallowed by dust, clouds, and the thunder of their collision. Ban finally calls in his pet to lock her down, screaming for it to hold on for dear life no matter what. As the monster fades, Rutile snaps back to her senses and panics, checking Ban for any broken bones or scars. He's totally wiped and exhausted, but he plays it cool. Rutile, meanwhile, is a sobbing mess of apologies for the chaos. He gives her a gentle head pat, reminding her that he signed up for this mess and isn't going anywhere. He tells her not to feel guilty. But just then, Dako slides in with her signature sarcasm to ruin the vibe. She points out how they're basically flirting while everyone else is out here bleeding and sweating for progress. Ban yells that he was literally fighting for his life, but the emo girl isn't buying his just friends act. She jokes about Rutile's hidden motives, turning the poor girl's face into a literal bright red tomato. Dako drops some cold advice: stop letting stray thoughts distract you, or you're just wasting your partner's time. Ban watches his fierce warrior friend shrink back into a shy kitten the moment Dako starts the teasing. He realizes her mental state is still hanging by a thread. Her emotional trauma is still way too fresh. Even so, her effort is 10 out of 10. Ban then drops a bombshell about a secret chat with the professor. He officially got the green light to bring a +1 when it's finally time to ditch this floating rock. Dako smirks, already imagining her grand escape from this claustrophobic and boring academy life. To her absolute shock, Ban ignores her completely and asks Rutile to join him on an actual real date. Later, we find Ban waiting at a boutique while on a call. He promises his jealous squad he'll be home by dusk. They're absolutely mauling over the phone because they didn't get an invite to this shopping spree. Suddenly, Rutile calls his name. He turns around and his jaw hits the floor at the sight of her. She's rocking a stunning dress, but looks incredibly self-conscious about how much it highlights her beautiful figure. Ban struggles to keep his cool while calling her gorgeous, which only makes Dako fume on the other end of the line. The emo girl promises a world of pain later. Out in the city, Rutile is wide-eyed at the lively atmosphere. She never imagined such a massive world existed outside the academy. Ban admits it's still pretty wild to him too. Every corner feels like a new discovery. He offers to lead the way toward the heart of the shopping district. He strides ahead confidently, but a massive crowd suddenly swallows Rutile whole, leaving her trapped in a sea of people. Panic surges as she fears losing him in the crowd, but Ban instantly interlocks their fingers, apologizing for the distance. Amidst the chaotic sea of people, he proposes they stay linked. With a faint blush, she softly nods. The pair weaves through the bustling metropolitan maze, exploring every hidden corner the city has to offer. Lost in the city's rhythm, they feast and explore, savoring every second of their day out together. Ducking into a local diner, they settle in. Ban checks if she's actually down with the menu here. Surprisingly, the monster meat-heavy dishes don't faze her. She dives right in with a genuine, radiant smile. The flavors hit differently, and even Ban is stunned by how top-tier the food actually tastes. Rukul never dreamed of such a feast, realizing every magical moment today is only happening because of Ban's kindness. But then, a shadow flickers across her face. Sensing the shift, Ban asks what's weighing on her mind. Brushing off his food concerns, she admits she's just feeling a massive wave of pure, overwhelming emotion. Between the new sights and the gifts he showered her with, this whole experience feels like a dream. A heavy guilt sinks in. She has nothing to offer him in exchange for all this generosity. She questions if she even deserves this joy, especially while her dangerous powers remain a ticking time bomb. Ban absorbs her words in silence before gently enveloping her hand in his, grounding her chaotic thoughts. He tells her to watch his palm, claiming her swirling feelings are manifesting right there in the air. Though she sees nothing, he urges her to visualize it, reflecting on how much has changed lately. Once he only felt her rage, but their time together has unlocked a deeper spectrum of her soul. As their bond strengthens, he's learning the language of her heart one shared moment at a time. He's certain that together, they'll crack the code to her powers. Intrigued, Rukul asks him a question. Can he see her current anxiety? Ban nods, then makes a crushing motion as if shattering her fears. Declaring the worry destroyed, he vows to handle every obstacle that stands in her way no matter what. He just wants her to live in the moment without the burden of debt. Rukil finally lets go. To her, Ban's words feel like a powerful spell that somehow always bends reality to his will. Ban worries he might be coming on too strong, but she quickly shakes her head, eyes bright. She actually wants to dive deeper into his world, specifically his complicated dynamic with the one and only Dako. Panic hits Ban as he remembers Dako's terrifying strength and her habit of pulverizing anything in her path. Rukil points out that despite the scary vibes, Dako clearly adores him. Ban isn't buying it for a second. To him, it's less love and more predator waiting to sharpen a blade. Rukil can't help but burst out laughing. Seeing his confusion, she explains that hearing his goofy side actually makes her feel a lot more at ease. She used to think he was an untouchable genius, but seeing his human side gives her new motivation. Snatching his hand, she pivots the day toward a new mission, a much-needed shopping spree for Ban himself. Ban laughs, telling her to keep her wallet shut and just focus on having the time of her life. While their date stays wholesome, a storm is brewing back at the Academy's high-stakes meeting room. Professor Yumina is currently getting grilled by the faculty over the viral tower exploration videos Ban just posted. The staff is absolutely livid. That top-secret data from the tower is now floating around the internet. As tempers flare, one professor snaps at Yumina, claiming Ban's reckless stunts have finally crossed the ultimate line. He demands to know if she'll take the heat for this rule-breaking student who constantly ignores every single boundary. We rewind a few hours to the moment Yumina first witnessed the footage that started this entire firestorm. Frozen in her office, she stared at the screen, unable to process how Ban recorded anything inside that tower. She originally laughed off his plan, knowing that the tower's intense energy usually shreds any technology into scrap metal. Everyone knows that extreme monopressure makes tech totally useless within that chaotic high-intensity environment. But Ban just rewrote the laws of physics. Looking at his robot, he casually celebrates this impossible breakthrough. The footage isn't the real problem, it's the fact that he engineered technology that can survive the tower's crushing mana. This feat is beyond legendary, it's game-changing. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper than that. Ban revealed his ultimate plan, dropping the footage on their public channel to farm massive clout and worldwide attention. This might spark total mayhem between various factions, but he's betting it wins over the entire student body. Professor Yumina can't help but wonder if he's truly dead set on this massive gamble. He went through hell to scavenge those tower secrets, making her fear he'll regret revealing them to everyone. Ben insists his struggle will eventually level up all the students. Besides, he's currently the only one. Since he's the only person capable of filming inside the tower, he basically controls the entire narrative. Classified moments like his secret talk with the Constellation will be strictly edited out of the footage. While the remaining intel helps others grow, the professor finds herself low-key admiring his bold logic. She once warned him about the Academy's rigged reality, but never dreamed he'd flip the script like this. She still urges caution regarding the strict rules ahead. Our hero simply nods, fully aware of the stakes. This stunt will trigger a massive shift. To survive the fallout, they must stabilize their position immediately. Within these walls, this allows her to protect them. Hearing his plan, she feels unexpectedly touched. Moved by his concern, she warns that if he truly wants safety, he should stop these risky stunts. Yet deep down, she senses that our hero's actions are about to become something legendary. This move could actually bridge the gap between dimensions. That sudden realization leaves her stunned. She knows she must offer her full support. Later, at the faculty meeting, she defends the tower video. It's his private business, and she honestly can't see why everyone is treating it like a crisis. She demands to know why she's being blamed for his choices. Nearby, Professor Cantone smirks, finally speaking up. He teases that her poker face is slipping, because it's obvious she's deeply invested in that rookie's fate. Talia, from Artifact Creation, cuts in demanding the professor stop playing games and just give them the truth. She presses for his real identity, but Yumina stands her ground, claiming he's just a typical first-year recruit. The green-haired instructor scoffs, arguing that if Van were actually ordinary, this entire situation would be impossible. Selfishness has its limits, and leaking critical tower secrets without permission is a direct violation of Academy protocol. She fires back, noting that recording inside the tower was only impossible because their past tech was simply trash. Since someone finally cracked the code, they should focus on leveraging this power instead of whining about outdated rules. Cantone leans in, prompting her to break down this mysterious tech so everyone can grasp the situation. Talia, a veteran of 200 years, insists that no external gear has ever survived the tower's harsh environment. Recording devices are a lost cause because the tower's intense monopressure fries any electronic circuit instantly. After centuries of research, she's dead certain that no machine can function within those cursed walls. It's an absolute law of nature, yet Yumina claims Van has somehow shattered that reality completely. Suspicion grows among the faculty, as they wonder what makes this boy so dangerously unique. She doubts he's from a monolith lower dimension, questioning how he alone possesses such god-tier capabilities. Suddenly, she remembers the recording device and demands it be handed over immediately for a full teardown. She wants to gut it, but Yumina refuses, shielding the artifact as a protected student breakthrough. She won't let anyone mess with his hard work, despite being ordered to present it to the board. The room erupts in outrage, with teachers accusing her of blatant treason against the Academy's interests. Suddenly, a hand rises, demanding silence. The tension is suffocating, and the crowd is ordered to pipe down immediately. Everyone freezes, as Vice President Xenon takes the stage. His mere presence forces the entire room into silence. He honors Talia's 200 years of expertise, admitting that if she's impressed, the item must be legendary. Yumina confesses the tech defies her logic but remains adamant about its power. Then Xenon drops a bombshell. He reveals the truth. Van is the only human on Earth truly acknowledged by the Tower's will. The faculty reels in shock, refusing to believe a monolith outsider could achieve such status after one run. They think it's a joke, but Xenon coolly tells them that their belief doesn't change the cold hard facts. There's more to Van's legend, though. Xenon turns to Yumina, asking if the video hides any other secrets. The question catches her off guard, but he hints that even she might be missing the bigger picture. It turns out Van and his crew are the chosen ones, handpicked by a celestial constellation itself. Talia is floored by the news, realizing this situation is way more insane than anyone could have imagined. The staff is reeling. How could a first-timer catch the eye of a constellation after just one mission? Yumina fires back, insisting that a celestial contract is a personal win for the student alone. These are private matters, but the vice president cuts her off, demanding she reveal the whole truth. He needs a straight answer. Did Van or his team actually sign a pact with those celestial gods? Yumina wonders why he's digging so deep, finally admitting that neither the hero nor his team signed anything. Xenon realizes they actually rejected the gods, proving they are built different from any ordinary student. Standing up to a constellation's crushing aura is terrifying. Even breathing in their presence is a massive feat. Because of this, he decrees that the hero and his squad are now required to attend his lectures. The staff is speechless, arguing that without an official celestial contract, these kids shouldn't get any special treatment. Why grant them elite, senior-level access? Xenon counters that the piece of paper doesn't actually matter here. It's not about the pact but the selection. Being chosen proves they have the potential to reach godhood. By rejecting one god, they've just put a massive target on their backs for every other constellation. As a mentor for those touched by the stars, he's officially claiming Van as his personal disciple. The faculty is forced to back down. After all, once the vice president decides his word is law, reluctantly, they cave. The vice president shifts focus back to the viral tower recordings. Right now, there is zero proof to blame the kid. If you doubt his power, grill him in private. Enough with the baseless accusations. Yumina senses the real agenda. This isn't about the hero's welfare at all. It is the president's move. He is just using the VP as a mouthpiece for his ultimatum. The VP drops a cold warning. Anyone stirring up drama for that student will face the consequences. Student or staff disrupt him, and you are expelled. Period. The meeting adjourns with chilling finality. The staff is dismissed for the weekend. Yumina sighs in relief. The president is finally backing the hero. As she lingers, Cantone slides in, suggesting they toast to the student insane success with a drink. She vanishes mid-sentence, ghosting everyone. The other professors cannot help but pity the poor guy. Rejection. They invite him out instead. Monday hits, and as Ben carries his tray, a massive mob swarms him. Everyone is thirsty for his attention, shouting introductions or shooting their shot for a date. It is pure chaos. Ben is totally overwhelmed by the sudden clout. Watching from afar, Taco wonders why the entire school is simping. Light drops the news. Their tower footage went nuclear. The channel just blasted past 2 million subscribers. At this point, you would be hard-pressed to find a single student who has not seen it. The emo girl confesses she low-key underestimated the video. She thought his combat skills were his only flex, but the hype proves his genius. Rutile stays silent, carefully watching her reaction to Ben growing legend. Navigating the crowd, our boy finally reaches his table, baffled by the insane Monday morning energy. The pink-haired girl hypes him up, while Light jokingly welcomes him to the world of superstardom. Cloud is exhausting, Ben admits, but it beats watching his friends bicker like an old couple. He reminds them they are famous too, be nice to the fans. Meanwhile, some haters nearby are already whispering. They are calling cap, doubting anyone could clear 4 tower floors that fast. They think it is all staged. Lower dimension trash always uses cheap tricks, they sneer. They are betting his fraud gets exposed real soon. The trash talk sparks a memory. His showdown with the stone guy is scheduled for tomorrow. He knows the whole school is preying on his downfall. His squad senses the tension and starts worrying. But the emo girl stays chill. She looks him in the eye and simply tells him just win. Cut to the next day, the arena is packed. Ben stands face to face with the hulking rock guy. The ref announces the duel is streaming live on the school main channel. Both fighters must confirm the stakes. They agree, and a contract is presented. Ben scans the document, but his eyes widen in shock. The fine print is brutal. The match only ends when one fighter is completely neutralized. No mercy. Bones will break. As Ben processes the danger, his opponent stomps over, already itching for a fight. Rock Guy sneers, calling him a coward. If you want to quit, he taunts, there is a way out. Crawl through my legs and bark like a dog. Ben just stares back, genuinely confused by the cringe. The crowd jeers, tired of low-born trash making waves. The toxic atmosphere in the arena is suffocating. They scream for Ereto to snap ban legs. Ortema watches silently while the squad checks the livestream stats. The comments are toxic, flooded with hate for our hero. It is a total hit piece in real time. He is a walking target, but with this many eyes on him, a massive backlash was inevitable. He has to silence them. Ben knows he has the god-tier talent to reach the summit. The disrespect is wild. Honestly, it feels like he is trapped in some cringe, low-budget villain backstory. Ben looks at the Rock Guy. Did you stay up all night practicing that line because it actually worked? Erecto smirks, doubling down on the ego. Enjoy your calm while it lasts, trash. I am breaking you. Ben steps forward, a dangerous glint in his eye. Try me. The stone guy rage hits the ceiling. Start the match, he bellows. He is itching to snap ban limbs like dry twigs. The nervous ref finally signals the start. Class 1 Erecto versus Class 11 Ban. Let the carnage begin. Erecto lunges with a bone-shattering punch fueled by pure ego. But Ben, he has already gone dodging like a ghost. Using a slick counter step, he glides into the blind spot. The Rock Guy has not even realized he lost. Ban slams his blade into the base of Erecto's skull, flooring the Titan in one cold, fluid motion. He muses that the ultimate counter for a walking fortress is the reverse impact method, a lethal trick Danko taught him right after his date with the pink-haired beauty. Back then, she'd gathered everyone to break down the mechanics, warning that perfecting this style demands brutal trial and error. It's only combat-ready once you've survived gauntlets of diverse foes and skill sets. To forge his instincts, she'd handed him a wooden bat, vowing to strike from every possible angle, speed, and lethal intent. If he could parry her just once, it meant a total victory over that living boulder. Ban realized her harsh lessons were spot on, despite that training nearly putting him 6 feet under. Staggering up, a dazed Erecto grunts. What happened before a jagged spike of agony rips through his skull, sending him crashing back down? Ban grinned. The trick was pure gold. He'd channeled concentrated wave energy into his edge, which resonated perfectly through that stone exterior. Now, livid, the Rockman starts spitting more empty threats into the air. Ban casually takes a seat, mocking the giant to quit whining and swing, or just tap out like a coward. Driven mad by the disrespect, Erecto lunges, but our hero glides backward with effortless precision. Steam erupts from the giant as he bellows insults, calling Ban low-dimensional trash. It's clear this guy is totally unraveling, and honestly, it's getting a bit sketchy. Erecto's next stance screams one thing: he's strictly out for blood now. Ban sidesteps again, laughing at the idiot for spamming the same move. Since the Goliath won't adapt, Ban decides to double down on his own counterplay, shredding the giant's limb into a dozen stony fragments. Agonized howls fill the arena as that unbreakable arm is carved like butter. Even the vice prez looks shook, realizing this isn't even a fight, it's a massacre. In the stands, the audience is absolutely floored by the carnage. Light notes the shock stems from Ban's insane growth spurt since his first day at this academy. It's finally sinking in. Those viral videos weren't clickbait. His skills are the real deal. Even the ref is paralyzed, unable to process the evolution. A week ago, Ban was a nobody, but now he's a total monster. Suddenly, a priority alert pings the referee from the higher-ups. Meanwhile, Ban looms over the fallen Rockman, weighing his options. Smacking a downed opponent feels cheap, so he decides to drag him back up for more. But before he can act, the instructor signals a hard stop, declaring the duel officially over. He claims Erecto is finished and they're cutting the fight short to ensure everyone's safety. Ban is baffled. Safety. For who he knows damn well that if the roles were reversed, the ref wouldn't have lifted a finger. When Ban tries to protest, the professor just shuts him down instantly, barking at him to clear the ring. Frustrated, but playing it cool, our hero bites his tongue and exits. It's annoying to have a match end in a no contest, leaving the hierarchy unsettled. However, a win is a win in his book. But as he walks off, he hears the professor desperate to settle Erecto. The teacher begs him to stay put, but the stone giant isn't even close to admitting defeat. Hurling low-tier slurs and death threats, he charges like a madman while the prof screams for him to halt. The teacher yells for Ban to run, but our hero isn't backing down from a guy literally trying to murder him. Ban unsheathes his steel, ready for a head-on collision. He knows Erecto heard the order to stop, but the guy chose violence and broke every rule. Honestly, the giant and the teachers are all clowns in his eyes. In a flash, Ban unleashes a devastating counter, cleaving Erecto's massive arm clean in two. The stadium goes absolutely wild, seeing a top-tier freshman humbled like this. The frantic professor promises they can still sew the limb back on. Right then, a system notification pings in Ban's vision, asking if he wants to harvest the attributes from the severed arm. While Ban questions the ethics, the professor is screaming into his radio for medics. Despite the gore, the rock giant is still awake and seething. The instructor whips around to Ban, demanding to know why he didn't just evade as ordered. Ban puts on his best clueless face and says, everything moved so fast that his body just reacted on pure instinct. This response makes the professor's blood boil, but the vice president's icy voice cuts through the air, ordering him to stand down. He's taking over the interrogation. Immediately. After a cold introduction, he warns Bond to choose his words wisely. That counter was definitely overkill, and there's no way Ban couldn't have dodged. Truth is, they stopped the duel because the power gap was just too humiliating. With that settled, the vice president leans in, demanding the real reason our hero refused to evade that final strike. Despite wielding the legendary power of language, the sheer suffocating pressure radiating from the man is nearly unbearable. As those cold words pierce through the screen, Ben begins to wonder what kind of monster the vice president truly is. Ben coolly explains he chose to counter instead of retreating because a student who openly defies a teacher's authority is dangerous. Anyone breaking the rules deserves to face the music. He insists that every sparring match must strictly follow the Academy's laws. He wants to ensure no one thinks they can get away with a cheap shot after the buzzer. Since the world is watching, with eyes from other dimensions fixed on them, simply dodging would signal that the rules are just a joke to elites. Facing a lower dimensional opponent, he made a split-second call that he believes perfectly aligns with the Academy's core principles. Hearing this, the vice president smirks internally, realizing the hero just served up a genius answer for the public audience. The kid skillfully turned a petty student grudge into a matter of institutional integrity. The vice president finally speaks up. He concedes the point. Students who trample over the regulations definitely need to be put in their place. Yet justice is the Academy's burden to bear, not a student's. Seeing the tension, the referee's heart races with excitement. He's convinced the hero is totally cooked for talking back to the big boss. Ben bows, admitting he stepped out of line. He offers to take whatever punishment comes his way. To everyone's absolute shock, the vice president reveals he has no such plans. He was just curious about the boy's mindset. Since Ereto was the aggressor, Ben's brutal response was purely self-defense. Another professor tries to protest, but the vice president silences him instantly, roasting him for failing to stop the initial assault. Since reattaching that rock guy's limb is a simple fix, he decides to drop the entire matter right then and there. He orders every student who witnessed the chaotic duel to get back to their seats and focus on their next lessons. Relieved that the storm has passed without a total expulsion, the crowd scatters. The vice president gives the hero a nod. He encourages Ben to keep grinding before dismissing him. As Ben turns to leave, the vice president drops a cryptic parting word. He claims they will meet again soon, leaving our boy feeling completely uneasy about what that ominous again actually means. He eventually regroups with his squad, who are all hyped up and ready to give him a hero's welcome back. While they gush over his insane duel performance, the emo girl cuts in, noting his power has reached a terrifying level. Ben tries to credit her training for the glow-up, but she clarifies she is talking about the energy he just stole. Ben is shook that she noticed, and confesses that he did indeed absorb a portion of Ereto's severed arm. A brief flashback shows the moment his system glitched to life, offering him a one-time chance to consume that power. Driven by curiosity, he took a small bite of that energy, and it actually worked. Until this moment, he never could. He had never manipulated the concept of a living being like this, but now he can harvest power from specific body parts. Dako thinks this is a massive win, yet wonders why Ben looks like he's seen a ghost. Ben admits that initially. He felt a rush from the power-up, but once the adrenaline faded, he realized he hadn't just butchered a mindless monster. It was a human. Finding satisfaction in tearing away a man's limb, it makes his skin crawl with genuine guilt. The girl tells him to stop tripping. From her view, Ereto was a predator who tried to end his life first. Losing an arm is just the tax you pay in a deathmatch. She insists there is no room for pity here. Why feel bad for a guy who wanted you dead? Ben eventually nods, forcing a smile and admitting he might be overthinking. As the group gets back to their usual banter, a sudden ping on Ben's screen catches him completely off guard. It's an alert for a high-stakes lecture by Vice President Xenon regarding the mysterious and powerful constellations of Babylon. The seminar covers the secrets of gaining celestial support, mastering negotiations, and forging unbreakable contracts with the stars above. It even teaches how to avoid divine wrath and how to smoothly jump from one constellation to a better one. Though it's meant for seniors, Class 11 gets a special invite. As they march toward the hall, the atmosphere turns toxic. Nearby, students begin whispering shade about the hero, mocking the fact that a lower-dimensional trash student is walking so confidently. Overhearing the haters, Ben turns to his friends with a smirk, joking about a classic saying from his homeworld. In my world, they say the more haters you have talking trash, the longer your life will actually be. The emo girl deadpans that, if that's the case, Ben is probably going to live forever and become immortal. Before they enter, the pink-haired girl catches his sleeve, her eyes filled with worry as she asks if he's truly okay. She's terrified the school's hate will only grow. He reassures her he's fine, though he admits the words still sting. Staying under the radar beats having a target on his back, so he gives her a head pat. He offers a genuine thanks for her concern. Catching the vibe, Dako chimes in with a smirk. She jokes they're totally in sync after their date and teases him about the clothes he bought. Then she tells Rutile to stop acting so thirsty in public. The pink-haired girl doesn't even flinch. She asks if Dako is just jealous. Dako snaps instantly, looking ready to throw hands right there. Our boy steps in before things get messy, reminding them that their first lecture is starting. He just hopes they aren't late. The blonde guy looks worried about the upperclassmen waiting inside. It might look super awkward for fresh meat from a lower dimension to join a senior class. Ban tells him to chill. The seniors will probably just think some high-tier prodigies have arrived. But as the door swings open, every eye in the room locks onto them. The emo girl sighs. She figures the seniors are just sizing them up, but their raw talent is impossible to ignore. Rutile is shaking from the intense pressure. Our boy realizes this class is on a different level. It's even more overwhelming than he imagined. Suddenly, the professor welcomes the group to his domain. The moment he speaks, system alerts go haywire. This man's power level is a total mystery. It's literally off the charts. Meet Xenon, the vice president, and their new supervising professor. He gestures for them to sit. Ban instantly recognizes that voice from the aftermath of the duel. The professor keeps it simple. Forget the syllabus. The goal here is to truly master the tower, and the constellations watching from above. Since rookies are present, he starts with the absolute basics. To most, the tower looks like a giant lawless structure with no visible ceiling or end. But it's actually a living thing. As you climb, you overcome trials to unlock its deepest secrets. Most think they climb for loot, but the tower actually handpicks the best to receive its rewards. Rare artifacts and miraculous power-ups are reserved for those who show true potential and grit. Higher beings only reveal their mysteries to those capable of handling the truth. Ban is skeptical. He listens to the lecture but feels a massive wave of confusion and doubt hitting him. If the tower is alive, how did a random intruder manage to glitch the entire system? Then it hits him. The Chancellor's message didn't come after they cleared the 4th floor. It arrived exactly when the intruder broke in, but the early stages were already insane. The difficulty spiked way before any intruder appeared. He starts questioning everything about the tower. Was the change caused by a hacker or by their own arrival? He wonders if the tower is manipulating their path on purpose, or if his bloodline as the Master's descendant is the key. The deeper he digs, the less sense it makes. Light sees his zoned-out face and asks if he's okay. Meanwhile, the vice president watches him from the front with a cryptic smile. Our boy decides to push the intrusive thoughts aside. If the tower is sentient and chooses, then maybe every nightmare they survived was custom-made for them. He remembers the old saying, high risk means high reward. The tower must have something massive planned for them after this. Even so, he can't fully wrap his head around it. Looking around, he spots something off. The professor asks if he's seen it yet. There's a hidden barrier masking the object from view. Most students miss it for a year, yet Ban sensed the orb instantly. He's sharper than most. While Ban stares at the orb, the professor admits this group is actually ready for this level. He brings the sphere down and challenges the hero to tell him what's hidden inside. As our boy focuses, the system errors out again. This object is completely beyond measurement. Even with his eyes peeled, he sees nothing but a void. The professor tells him to focus. He insists there is a secret waiting to be found. Ban tries again but hits a wall. The professor pushes him for one more go. Our boy puts every ounce of mana into searching. Suddenly the veil lifts. He can finally see the complex concepts like barrier separation. He felt the absolute safety of the barrier. Yet as he reached deeper, the underlying truth remained frustratingly out of reach. Xenon offers a nod of approval, telling the boy to rest his weary eyes. Inside the professor's mind, however, he is absolutely floored. This kid has already pinpointed 3 fundamental pillars of the orb's ancient power. He is no ordinary student. Now, the headmaster's obsession with this boy finally starts to make perfect sense. Xenon breaks the silence, questioning if Ben truly understands the reality of the artifact sitting before him. Ben's response is blunt. He is completely clueless. The professor finds such honesty refreshing, if not a bit reckless. A bit of reflection would have served him better. He explains that their entire education centers on one thing: expanding the boundaries of the mind. In this world, the wider your imagination, the more overwhelming your power. To reach the pinnacle of strength, one must master the mental force behind that power and evolve their thinking. Even when the path is hidden, the gears of the mind must never stop turning. That is the secret. Ben wonders if peak-level imagination could grant absolute control over the orb. He asks the teacher for confirmation. The professor's eyes gleam. Exactly. Master the orb's architecture and learn to weave its power into your soul. And you won't just be a mage. You will ascend to the level of a literal god with infinite power. The room goes dead silent. That revelation is heavy enough to crush the breath out of every student present. Even Ben is left spinning. Xanon acknowledges the confusion, noting that cosmic truths are not mastered in a single day. With every lecture, the fog will lift. This core philosophy is the heartbeat of his entire curriculum. It is the ultimate key to surviving the simulated constellation war. With that final bombshell, the session is dismissed. As the crowd thins, Ben feels like he is drowning in info. To be honest, he understood absolutely zero. The whole concept is a massive headache. If this leads to godhood, then what even is a pseudo-god? He questions Xanon's true motives, feeling utterly overwhelmed by the sheer insanity of this high-level class. Ben turns to Light, desperate for a simplified recap. But their path is suddenly blocked by a familiar figure. Ortema stands there cold and immovable. Ben's heart skips a beat. What is this guy doing here now? Ortema shuts him down instantly. I am the one asking questions, he snarls, demanding to know where the girl is. The group trades confused glances. Is he actually hunting for Dako? Right on cue, she walks toward them. She wonders why they are all huddled up like a secret meeting. Seeing Ortema, she braces for a confrontation. Ignoring Ben, Ortema steps right into her personal space. He has something important to settle with her. Dako assumes he is back for a rematch. If he wants another beatdown, she is more than happy to provide it. Violence inside school is risky, but Ortema takes a different approach. Suddenly, he drops to one knee. A bouquet of flowers appears. He asks her out right then and there. Ben and the others are floored. Dako is frozen, her cool exterior shattered by the absurdity. Cut to later, as the group wanders off. Ben is still reeling. How do you fall for the person who literally just mopped the floor with you? He wonders what kind of bizarre mental wiring it takes to find a crushing defeat so romantic. His friend just smirks, suggesting Ben already answered his own question. Dako, however, remains deeply skeptical. She cannot wrap her head around it. She was certain he had an ulterior motive and wanted answers. The group is taken aback. Does she really believe this whole romantic gesture was just a calculated move? He is definitely plotting something. There was not a single spark of genuine affection in those eyes of his. Ben does not buy it. He did not see any malice, and hey, he casually mentions she is objectively stunning anyway. That direct compliment sends a flush to her cheeks, and she starts yelling to hide her sudden embarrassment. Meanwhile, the pink-haired girl ponders if Ortema was truly playing a game. She replays the scene in her mind. She wonders what was really going on in his head. Her memory tells a completely different story. He looked genuinely crushed when she left. Later at the training hall, Ben's system starts screaming with notifications. A new concept has been integrated. His hidden progress is finally starting to manifest in tangible, powerful ways. After their latest video upload, the system grants him a charm ability along with some basic stat boosts. Ben sighs at the minor increases. How are these tiny buffs supposed to help them scale the tower? He turns to the pink-haired girl, asking if his face looks any different. Is the charm stat actually working? She hesitates before admitting his glow-up is actually legit. Our hero instantly turns beet red from the unexpected compliment. He stammers that wasn't what he meant, offering a quick thanks. Dako just watches them, her annoyance visibly spiking. She snaps at them for gossiping during combat practice. Even during breaks, they should be focusing on their recovery. The hero rushes over asking if she sees the change too. Her response, a swift smack that sends him flying. She barks for them to train. Soon, Ben and Rutile are back at it, their weapons clashing once more. The pink-haired girl blurs into high-speed strikes. Yet our hero remains composed, weaving through her every lethal move. From the sidelines, Light notes Ben's insane growth, suggesting they've outgrown these dungeons. The emo girl tells him to stop being soft. She acknowledges his gains, but insists he's still leagues behind the real monsters. He only survives because she's pulling her punches. Only one day remains before they brave the tower again. The pressure is mounting as the clock ticks down. She prays he's found a fix for their chaotic teammate. If not, history is bound to repeat itself. Failure isn't an option. Mid-fight, Ben triggers his all-seeing eye, searching for the key to victory. A week of study revealed Rutile's berserk state runs entirely on her raw emotions. They are her lethal fuel. Her power shifts based on her feelings. Intense rage causes her to snap, losing all sense of self. While fury triggers the rampage, positive vibes act as a literal sedative. Happiness could actually keep her beast at bay. His blade meets her claws in a frantic dance of steel. In this heat, her inner demon stirs. Predictably, her anger boils over. She lunges with murderous intent, barely missing his head and shearing off his hair. He realizes he needs to swap her rage for something pure. Injecting positivity might just break the curse. With a massive parry, he blasts her back. The spectators gape as Ben drops, prepping his final gamble. This is it. Weeks of sparring weren't just for training, he's been harvesting shards of her genuine joy. Instead of faking it, he'll mirror her own happy memories. Real, unadulterated light to counter her darkness. He charges glowing emotions swirling in his palm. He reaches for her, aiming to stabilize her fractured soul. Just as he attempts the emotional infusion, she swats him away. The connection is violently severed in an instant. Ben freezes as Rutile's eyes burn with malice. Before he can react, a devastating strike sends him reeling. He hits the dirt hard. As he struggles, the mindless beast lunges again, her claws ready to tear him apart. The team rushes in, but Ben's chains are faster. They whip out, binding Rutile's wrists in an iron grip. Saved by the bell, she thrashes and screams, desperate to break free from the hero's restraining hold. Her speed is off the charts now. Ben exhales, slumping back in relief as the danger passes. The beast should settle soon, but this constant restraint is a death trap. He needs a permanent solution. Something has evolved within her, but the trigger remains a mystery. The variables are shifting in dangerous ways. Out of nowhere, she thanks him. He blinks, utterly bewildered. Why show gratitude after such a chaotic failure? It feels premature, since her condition is still a ticking time bomb. But Rutile just smiles at him. She admits she's not cured, but his efforts changed everything. For the first time, she feels truly liberated. Fighting without the constant fear of snapping is a massive win. Suddenly, the emo girl looms over him. Ben jumps out of his skin. He starts babbling about how hard they've all been grinding lately. She nods, about to drop some heavy knowledge before abruptly cutting herself off. The silence is deafening. "Never mind," she mutters, ending the session. They begin the long trek toward the tower's looming entrance. Light wonders if leaving his holy sword behind was a mistake. If things go south, they'll need power. Their lives are inextricably linked. Bringing the divine blade might be the insurance they desperately need. The emo girl shuts him down. They agreed to master the basics first, not rely on shortcuts. They're just freshmen on their second run. Anxiety is the real enemy here, not the lack of gear. Ben agrees, silently noticing Light's growing addiction to that sword. It's becoming a crutch he can't ignore. That blade is a dual-natured nightmare, housing both a demonic spirit and a divine entity. Calling it holy is a stretch. Staying away from its influence is likely the only way to stay sane. If that thing is cursed, distance is key. The blonde guy finally yields, though he's clearly still bitter. He warns them not to complain if everything collapses. Amidst the bickering, Ben pulls up his status. A wave of relief washes over Ben as the puzzle pieces finally click. He summons both of his artifacts. "I'm relying on you again," he mutters, just as the pink-haired girl quietly slips up behind him. She vows to follow his lead no matter what, and Ben assures her she's in safe hands. Real combat is his specialty, and her eyes spark as she beams with absolute faith. Daku watches in silence. She jokes about him surviving until Saturday, prompting an immediate annoyed groan from Ben. Ben realizes she loves being bossy, but she cuts him off, pulling him aside for a private chat. Stepping away from the group, she admits there are things they need to settle before entering the tower. Their first evaluation is today, and the stats look bleak. Ben flashes back to her previous warning. He defends the team's growth, but as the emo girl brings up Rochelle, she suddenly stops cold. Spotting a listener, she snaps her fingers with a sharp crack that echoes through the air. The sound isolates the pink-haired girl. With their privacy restored, the emo girl turns to Ben. "Do you understand submission?" she asks. He thinks of dominance, but she says that's only half the story. While some fear control, others crave the stability of a leader. For the beast, it's a necessity. The beast seeks a master to tame her wild nature. Seeing Ben's confusion, she leans in closer. When she snaps, half-hearted efforts won't save her. She warns, her voice heavy with gravity. Even with the hint, our boy is still totally lost, sending the emo girl into a spiral of frustration. She drops the subject but demands he memorize her warning. Ben nods, still completely in the dark. Returning to the squad, the blonde guy asks if it's finally time to move out. With a final check-in and everyone's approval, he declares the start of their second raid. The elite freshmen cross the threshold, and the world begins to warp into something unrecognizable. A labyrinth forms around them. The emo girl expected a reset to floor 1, but she was wrong. Their pendants reveal the harsh truth: they've been dropped straight into the chaos of floor 5. As Light and the emo girl bicker, Ben spots Rochelle drifting off and calls out to her. She catches the scent of blood nearby. Ben wonders if she's already tracked down their prey. Before they can even find a trail, reality itself begins to glitch and stutter before his eyes. Confused, the blonde guy asks if this is the same weirdness they saw on the first floor. Ben senses the difference immediately. A bizarre, static-like crackle echoes deep within his mind. Space warps like shattering glass, and without a second thought, Rochelle charges into the distortion. As she strikes, Ben's system pings with a list of corrupted elements. Reality is failing. Chaos, spirits, and light overlap. It's a full-blown glitch phenomenon manifesting in the physical world. When the system collapses, pure terror takes physical shape, birthing monsters from the digital static. These things are on a whole different level of creepiness compared to their usual enemies. The mechanics of malfunction inversion are a mystery, but Ben decides to harvest it anyway. He siphons the raw power from the glitch, just as a monster lunges from the shadows. The emo girl obliterates the threat with a laser blast, telling him to keep his head in the game. Fighting in a shifting maze is a nightmare, and she warns the team to stay tight. This labyrinth is a death trap if they split up. Suddenly, Ben's system pings once more. Every scrap of inversion counts. It's a slow grind, but essential for his ultimate evolution. Soon these fragments will fuse into an unstoppable new ability. He looks back. He spots the pink-haired girl holding the line alone and calls her to his side. Don't carry the world alone, he warns, before you push yourself past the point of no return. He tells her to stick close, and she bashfully nods as Dako shreds through waves of enemies. Stop flirting and start moving, Dako scoffs. Ben immediately denies everything with a blush. He swings his chains into the fray while Ruthie backs him up from the shadows. Mid-skirmish, she barks warnings, guiding his every strike against the encroaching monster horde. Tearing through the labyrinth, they finally halt to catch their breath, eyes scanning the shadows. The emo girl senses a glitch. Every twist and turn is already etched into her memory. Though the corridors shift and morph, a haunting sense of déjà vu lingers in the air. This maze is a living entity constantly rearranging. Total annihilation is their only way out. Ban pauses, realizing his obsession with inversion concepts blinded him to the obvious trap. Halting Dako, he points out the illogical nature of these ever-shifting stone walls. There's a trick here, he mutters, pressing a hidden brick, as the truth reveals itself. System alert, he acquires Illusion 0.5, a forbidden concept far beyond human reach. With a thunderous crack, the wall disintegrates. His intuition was dead on the money. Stunned, his team demands answers. He explains that the anomaly was staring them in the face. His focus was on the loot, but the rhythmic layout finally signaled a hidden path. The exit is clear. The emo girl whispers that his genius is truly on another level. Moving like a blur, our hero slays a massive glitch beast, racking up insane concept points. Light is shook. Second expedition in, and they've already bagged another elite-tier monster. Their squad is officially built different. Suddenly, a new system notification flashes before his eyes. Pinky starts panicking, checking for wounds, but he plays it cool despite the mounting tension. Something is wrong. His mana is hard-capped at 199, refusing to budge. His growth has hit a dead end at 200. This roadblock is completely unprecedented. Confused, he's interrupted by Dako, who magically appears right in his personal space. Nearly jumping out of his skin, he tells her to chill with the sneak attacks. He vents his frustration even after an elite kill. His magic stats are completely frozen. Instead of worrying, she smirks. Congrats, she teases. You finally hit the inevitable wall. He's been devouring power like a vacuum, leaving no room for his foundation to settle. His rapid ascension has triggered a premature limit. Desperate, the hero begs for a solution. She drops some wisdom, stop hunting like a bot, and start surpassing your soul's boundaries. Glancing at Rutile, she throws some spicy shade about the perks of being off campus. Taking the hint, he promises a proper date if she helps him break this plateau. She's down, but warns the training is grueling. It's a gamble they have to take. Dako reveals the secret: he must master the legendary art of divine manifestation. Sounds flashy, but she insists it's just the basics martial arts for the soul. Ban realizes he's learned her philosophy, but his hand-to-hand combat skills are zero. He offers to do a formal disciple ceremony, but she just waves him off. Relax, kids, learn this stuff, she says, telling him to just lock in and prep. As he readies himself, she's secretly touched that he actually wanted a formal ceremony. Plot twist: divine manifestation is a top-secret technique exclusive to her noble bloodline. If her old man found out she was sharing this with an outsider, total chaos. Ban's face turns beet red as he asks if he seriously needs to strip down. The vibe gets awkward fast. The blonde guy and Rutile are low-key losing their minds. Dako shuts them up instantly, barking orders for the hero to sit and focus. Watching him, she realizes she wants to be the only one to mold his power. His potential is infinite, and she refuses to let anyone else's influence touch him. His talent is scary. As she guides him, he notices the surprising warmth of her touch. "I've told you the basics," she whispers. He nods, feeling the intensity of the moment. He asks about some epic mantra, but she just laughs. "You wouldn't get it, rookie. Skip the lecture explaining this step by step. Would take ages, so she decides to transmit the technique directly. She'll surge the power straight into his soul. Before she starts, he asks where she learned this, and she just smirks. She jokingly claims she picked it up from web novels. Just as the hero turns in shock, the ritual ignites. Rewinding a few minutes, she had warned him that divine manifestation would completely overhaul his mana's essence. Even his physical foundation would be rewritten. Ben is stunned, realizing this is way more complex than any martial art. She keeps him steady, explaining that evolving your key's nature is just part of the grind. This transformed magic will essentially simulate a brand new physique within him, a phantom body of sorts. This internal vessel will devour mana to produce pure ki, tempering his body and spirit simultaneously. His physical frame is literally ascending. Ben finds the theory heavy, but the bottom line is clear. Purify the mana, convert it to ki. As she finally triggers the technique, the real transformation begins. A wave of searing heat crashes through him. It feels like a molten orb is carving a path inside his chest. It's devouring his mana and etching brand new circuits that defy human logic. A new internal map is being forged. The intensity is insane. He worries his body might actually combust. The emo girl grips his shoulder, telling him to breathe. He needs to guide the divine key along these new pathways. This, she says, is the dawn of divine manifestation. If he can survive this stage, the next level of power will reveal itself naturally. Ben locks in, focusing on the azure flame-like energy swirling within. With total concentration, he tames the storm. The agony slowly fades into a strange comfort. He realizes that using raw magic was just a crude basic approach. Suddenly, a system alert pings. He's just grasped a legendary new martial arts concept. Every bit of impurity is purged, replaced by a surge of pure, overflowing life essence. This new vitality supercharges his other abilities. Ben is floored. Dako was right. The transformation is total. Divine Key is now the master of his domain. The emo girl breaks the silence, asking if he's satisfied with the results. Ben just flashes a confident thumbs up. He's beyond impressed. The power-up is absolutely cracked. Basking in his new strength, he playfully tells her to start thinking about what kind of reward she wants. She giggles, promising to collect later, but warns him to dry off before they keep climbing the tower. Ben ducks behind a pillar to freshen up, still feeling a strange hum whenever he focuses his mind. He can feel the divine key rhythmic pulse in his veins. His body is peaking and his senses are razor sharp. It's wild how easily he just secured a top-tier martial art without any hidden catches. He rejoins the squad quickly. He offers a quick, "My bad for the delay." The team is ready to roll, but the vibe has shifted. Dako is giving him a suspicious side-eye, but Ben just shrugs it off and urges everyone to move out. Blushing hard, the pink-haired girl whispers that this scene would have absolutely broken the internet. Light nods in total agreement. Ben tells them to cut the chatter and focus on the path ahead. Suddenly, the blonde guy realizes it's already lunchtime. Ben feels a pang of guilt for stalling the group. He's ready to grab a bite, but Dako shuts it down instantly. No breaks allowed. They aren't stopping until they hit the 6th room. Light jokes about her enforcing drill sergeant rules. She tells him to save his energy for finding the gate. Just then, Ben spots a glimmer up ahead. It looks like the exit, but suddenly his passive ability flares to life with a mind of its own. He detects a faint resonance coming from the opposite direction. Confused, he turns away from the main door. Is there something hidden? The emo girl trusts his gut and signals the team to follow his lead. They stop in front of a seemingly blank wall. Light is skeptical, thinking they've hit a dead end. But Ben senses an illusion. He reaches out, and the invisible barrier begins to fracture like glass. With a violent gust, the shroud shatters, revealing a secret corridor. The team is absolutely floored by the find. A notification pops. He's just absorbed 50 illusion concepts. Even Ben is stunned by the massive haul. This isn't just a detour. It's a major shortcut hidden in plain sight. He's found a literal game changer. He turns back to the squad, leaving the next move up to them. No one hesitates for a second. They trust his intuition implicitly. Without another word, the team plunges into the hidden passage. While our main character fuels his familiar with pure essence, the environment remains eerily static. The squad bets on a shift once they clear the upcoming stairs. The goth girl warns of traps. She orders Light to scout ahead cautiously. Suddenly, the Rutile charm glows, signaling a massive breakthrough. They've hit floor 8. Ben's jaw drops. Skipping 3 levels is practically unheard of in this tower. Even he's stunned by how insane this shortcut is. This move is a total game changer. The blonde warns that luck comes with a price. Skipping floors makes the monsters way more cracked. Light senses, the vibes are off. He's never been this rattled, likely missing his main blade. The goth girl roasts him, mocking his attachment to a broken weapon. They push deeper. The pink-haired girl spots a gateway. Since their IDs sync with level 8, the exit means level 9. Rucola's gut twists. The atmosphere feels just like that time they faced an OP irregular boss. Dako barks orders to stay frosty. She tells Light to be ready to draw his steel instantly. This gets the blonde guy hyped. He charges forward, claiming the spotlight like a true hero. It's a total bait, the room is empty. Light hopes for a safe zone, but Ben is skeptical. Boom. A magic projectile streaks from the shadows. Light's reflexes are a fraction too slow to react. An explosion erupts right next to the goth girl. Light screams her name through the choking smoke. She glares through the dust, asking if that weapon was unique. Ben confirms it's a one-shot deal. The sniper is officially out of ammo. Fuming, Ben orders Light to blitz the hidden camper now. The attacker's eyes widen in terror. His cover is blown way faster than he ever expected. How did these noobs track his location? His high-tier stealth skill should have made him completely invisible. The blonde guy lunges, cleaving the pillar in half with one strike. The rat has nowhere to hide. The sniper plots his final move kill. Light then blow the whole squad to kingdom come. Light checks on Dako. A direct hit from that blast would have been a total team wipe. His skill analyzes the projectile. This isn't just a bullet. It's a high-yield magical bomb ticking down. He screams for everyone to back off and quickly defuses the deadly explosive device. Fury blazes in Light's eyes. It's payback time. Meanwhile, the blonde is bullying the sniper. Distanced from the group, the attacker decides to detonate his ultimate trap. It's his last resort. He reaches for the trigger, but his blood turns to ice. The bomb is literally floating above him. He screams as his own weapon looms over him, but nothing happens. The dud just bounces off. While the rat panics, Light's cold gaze pins him down. The predator has become the prey. Rule 1, never blink in a fight, Light whispers. His sword flashes in a lethal arc. Light slashes him before he can breathe. He asks the traitor why a human would do this. Before a word escapes, Light explains how he dismantled the sniper's entire stealth play. He saw the bomb inside the bullet from the start. The attacker's hubris was his downfall. The man is shook. He can't believe lower-floor rookies are flexing this kind of insane power. Before things chill, the goth girl strikes. She aims to cripple him, ending his threat forever. Rutile isn't having it. She wants him dead. She snarls, demanding they eliminate the threat right now. Mercy is a luxury they can't afford. She believes leaving him alive is a death sentence. She pounces with lethal intent, but Light's chain snaps out, restraining her just in time. He forces her to back off. Suddenly, the air grows heavy. A godlike pressure crushes the room. A constellation's voice booms, scolding the failure. The group realizes they're being watched by the heavens. The sniper begs for another chance, but the entity is done. It orders him to self-destruct. Ben senses the mana surge and screams at everyone to run. The man is becoming a bomb. Blinding light leaks from his pores. Before they can escape, a massive shockwave rips through the floor. They barely survive by diving behind a pillar. The goth girl immediately searches for the hero. Miraculously, he's unscathed. The squad stares in disbelief. How did he walk away from that explosion? Facing a blast he couldn't dodge, he pivoted to find a lethal way to neutralize the impact. Recalling the essence siphoned from the device, he triggered a localized counterburst right before impact. The explosions canceled out. Daku stood firm, but the golden-haired warrior saw the killer had already vanished. Our hero guessed the guy might have respawned on a lower floor after getting toasted. The tower's logic was different, though. That eerie divine voice confirmed the attacker was officially game over. His death was finalized by the system. Now it was flagging the squad for intentional homicide. Han wasn't having it, claiming self-defense. The constellation just let out a mock, sorrowful sigh. It mourned losing a high-value asset, realizing it played its hand poorly against this special group. Fed up with the cryptic talk, Han demanded the entity quit the games and explain their identity. The divine being finally spoke the truth. They were Exodus, their sworn nemesis. It swore a bloody reunion before fading. When the aura lifted, Han felt purely agitated by the gods. Neither their power nor their threats were average. Rukul knew the name, but Light clarified the scope. It's a massive syndicate of interdimensional raiders. That constellation was likely the big money sponsor behind them. Han suddenly remembered Professor Yumina's lectures regarding these notorious world-hopping pirates. The blonde guy realized they were marked for death. The situation was spiraling into total chaos. Daku didn't sweat it. A showdown with them was written in the stars. At least they're battle-tested now. They gained some combat experience, yet Light felt uneasy about the constellation's lingering words. While questioning their unique status, everyone's UI flashed with alerts except for our main man. He wondered if it was a DM from the principal, but the goth girl revealed a group level up. This was their first rank up inside the tower, likely a massive bonus for tanking a divine strike. Watching from the back, Han noted they were all checking their high-tech status windows. Their base stats were already god tier, explaining the level up drought. But Han He got 0 notifications. It felt like the system was shadow banning him. No window meant no visible loot. He activated his eye skill. Peering at the site of the attacker's death, he spotted a glowing concept still hovering there. If he was right, that was his cut. The second he touched it, a blinding light flared up. The power surged into his veins. To his amazement, his life stat hit a massive 79. He'd grabbed some exotic concepts he'd never seen, one being a superior skill called Myriad Forms. It looked like an elite transformation art, while Stigma appeared linked to the higher-tier constellations. He'd secured some OP tools with no tutorial. Suddenly, his familiar appeared, acting hungry. Eve seemed fixated on Myriad Forms. Since Han couldn't use it, he let his pet devour the essence. Immediately after the pet ate the concept, Han yelled out, making Rukul jump in shock. He showed them that Eve had reverted into a dormant egg again, just like last time. However, nothing moved. Light suggested this second evolution might take much longer than the first. The emo girl guessed Eve would probably level up and grow stronger alongside the rest of the squad. Our boy was low-key terrified. When asked why, he admitted they had 0 safety nets left. Rukul noticed they'd entered a safe zone, so they hoped for Eve's speedy awakening there. Reaching the 10th floor, Han warned that bad RNG could mean starvation in a barren room. Luck was on their side. Light found a grove and recognized the legendary fruits of Eden. These treats wiped fatigue and boosted hidden potential. One bite and Han felt a massive power surge. The taste was addictive. The girl suggested they pig out and stuff their bags for the road. Light killed the vibe. The buff is a one-time deal, and you can't take it to go. The fruit would simply dissolve if removed. Han felt like it was a total waste of loot. He looked for a way around the rules when a system alert pinged. He'd eaten the unique one, the fruit of good and evil. Now, his eyes could see the literal weight of sin. Gaining a divine ocular skill from a snack was wild, but he decided to move on for now. Just then, Ruthie's voice rings out as she discovers a mysterious chest tucked away nearby. The squad wonders if this is their hard-earned loot, hoping even a low-tier box holds some legendary gems. Ben nods, reminding them they've already survived 2 constellation encounters, definitely not your average easy dungeon run. It feels like every nightmare difficulty was handpicked just for them, a grind most teams would never survive. Our hero explains it's a settlement reward, the ultimate payout based on their progress after hitting a rest area. Looking at that gold-trimmed wood, he bets it's a low-grade item, but definitely high-tier quality. Chests here are ranked by material, and in this world, gold trim means they're getting the top-shelf rewards. As the blonde dude reaches for it, Dako cuts him off, insisting the hero should handle the honors. He's triggered, but she claps back that his luck is trash, so there's no way he's touching that loot. Ben pops the lid and freezes. Inside lies a heart-shaped artifact, though. Light notes it isn't a standard tool. Perhaps it's for some ritual. Ruthie finds the design fascinating, but Dako senses a terrifying surge of energy within. It's definitely a high-level artifact. Ben politely asks Ruthie if he can take a closer look at the item. Examining the craftsmanship closely, Ben realizes the design perfectly mimics the form of a classic magic wand. A quick stat check reveals everything scales with magic, boasting a soul value that's absolutely off the charts. He explains it's a sentient beginner's training tool, an item with its own consciousness ready to teach its master. The squad is shook that an item could be awake, but Ruthie agrees it literally feels like it's breathing. Ben asks if he can claim the artifact, promising to pay them back. The team agrees without a doubt. He thanks them, knowing this tool is a game changer, and decides to settle the debt right here and now. Forget gold. Ben pulls out a basket and tells his friend to start gathering every fruit they can find. The blonde guy warns him that the fruits vanish outside the zone, but Ben just tells him to trust. Once they've got the goods, Ben slams down the same mysterious jar he used before catching everyone's eye. The hero notes these fruits are one-time buffs that instantly delete themselves once they leave the area. He wonders what happens if he fuses their essence. He begins extracting their power, merging it into something new. He's attempting a fusion no player has ever dared. As the light fades, a glowing new gem finally emerges. System alerts go wild. He's crafted a life elixir that massively boosts HP mana and unlocks hidden potential. It gets stronger with long-term use, but there's a catch: overdosing might trigger a literal divine punishment. The group is floored, but Ben stops them. The room's restrictions mean they can't taste the goods just yet. To test the flavor and buffs, they must leave. Hearing that, Dako is suddenly desperate to reach the next floor. Rested and ready, they hit floor 11. Instantly, Dako demands Ben check if the elixir actually works. He confirms it's a success, and in a burst of hype, she pulls him into a hug, leaving him flustered. She quickly snaps back and pushes him away, while the blonde guy teases her mercilessly until she snaps back. Ben mumbles that he was the one truly caught off guard. Suddenly, a presence manifests right before his eyes. He spots movement. Monsters are closing in. Without a heartbeat of hesitation, he maneuvers away to create space. He screams a warning to the squad, but before anyone can react, a lethal beam of light screams past. The monsters are vaporized instantly. Dako smirks, calling it perfect timing since she was way too full to eat. Slaying these mobs is the perfect workout to digest that heavy elixir. Ben can only watch her in concern. He starts questioning if making that elixir was a mistake. Regardless, the clock keeps ticking as they push forward. 10 grueling hours pass as they reach floor 14, yet Dako is baffled why she's still not hungry. Ben admits even he didn't expect their stomachs to stay this stuffed for half an entire day. His friend laughs, realizing they're probably the only squad clearing floors just to feel hungry again. Even so, Dako is convinced that by the time they hit room 15, their appetites will finally return. But our hero shuts that down immediately. He insists it's time to call it a day and set up camp. Evening has already fallen. He argues that even if they have energy left, resting is the smartest play now. When Dako questions his caution, he points to Ruthie, who looks like she's about to absolutely lose her mind. Seeing her teammate on the edge, Dako finally caves and agrees that pushing further is a bad idea. Pushing forward now is straight-up suicide. They need to set up camp and recharge instead of forcing it. Food can wait. A hot bath and some serious R&R are the move before they tackle floor 15 tomorrow. Dako and Light are down. He whips out some gear so they can wash up, sparking the emo girl to ask about his own plans. He's hitting the showers later. Right now, he's grinding to perfect his manifestation technique. She's hyped, she passed that skill on, but warns him that mastery only comes with relentless soul-crushing practice. He needs to lock in while she and the beast hit the water. Then our hero turns his gaze to Light. "Why are you still hovering?" he asks. The blonde dude panics defensively, blabbing that he's a total man. Like, why would he ever bathe with the girls? Ban freezes, wondering if this guy still hasn't realized the truth. His secret identity is already out. Playing it cool, Ban suggests Light can just skip the group bath. He can wash up right here, but the blonde guy shuts that down fast. Bro code or not, he's not stripping in front of anyone. He orders the hero to look away one peek, and he's dead meat. Pivoting away our MC spots a mysterious necklace. Cut to the next day, Light gets warned about over-relying on his blade. He's skeptical. Dako says he's a beast without the sword, but the blonde dude thinks his luck will eventually run out. Floor 7 was a cakewalk, but the future is a mystery. High-tier elites could spawn and wreck them any second. Going in without his holy sword is just too risky. Finally, the emo girl makes the tough call. After weighing the odds, he's back on sword duty. Light is stoked, swearing he'll never let that blade go again. Ban's worried if this is the right move, but Dako admits their options are basically zero. The dude is at his breaking point. Keeping him happy is just tactical. Right then, tension spikes in the air. Rutile stomps over low-key growling. Why is she tripping? She was just eating peacefully a second ago. Ban teases that she's probably jealous they're standing so close. The emo girl huffs and storms off in a mood. Great, now they're dealing with petty jealousy. After a brutal grind, the squad finally hits the 15th floor room. They're immediately jumped by a pack of orcs. The blonde hero dives in, slicing through monsters like butter. Watching the carnage, Ban realizes they'd be cooked right now if they hadn't returned that sword. The emo girl snaps that now is definitely not the time for a mid-battle reflection session. Boom, another beast spawns right in Ban's face and charges. But before it can land a lethal hit, Dako snipes it with an energy blast while Rutile goes full beast mode, shredding the rest with her claws. Thanks to their insane reflexes, Ban exhales in relief, sending a silent thank you to his badass teammates. Stay frosty, the emo girl warns. Watching the pink-haired warrior Ban fears she's a ticking time bomb. That berserk effect isn't fading at all. He knows if she snaps, he'll have to use that failed method again. It's a desperate gamble. Suddenly, an enemy lunges from the shadows behind him, going for the kill. Clang Ban parries the strike just in time. The mob starts its typical villain monologue about turning them to ash. Mid-threat Light decapitates the loudmouth in one clean motion. Talk about a swift execution. Another orc eyeballs Ban, mocking him for being the weak link. Ban's like, how did you even calculate that? The creature never gets to answer because its head goes flying next. The blonde guy just scoffs. These trash mobs are nothing. The only one who looked like a challenge is already dead meat. To him, they're just fodder. Ban tries to rein him in before he does something stupid, but he just keeps solo carrying, ignoring the team entirely. Once the dust finally settles, Light starts reflecting. Seeing monsters from his own world inside this tower was definitely not on his bingo card. Still, they're just orcs fodder for his holy sword. But Dako is seriously losing her patience now. She rips into him for being a reckless solo player. Ban realizes the blonde dude is totally distracted. The last mob is down, meaning the next phase could trigger any time. The emo girl reminds Light of the plan. They were supposed to regroup before advancing. But of course, the blonde guy doesn't care about the rules. He brushes it off, bragging that the next floor will be a breeze with his legendary blade. His arrogance leaves them speechless. He even claims fighting these low-level scrubs is just a waste of time. Then he drops a low blow, suggesting they're just worried about losing loot. That really sets the girl off. Ben lunges in, begging for calm. He's baffled by his friend's sudden uncharacteristic and erratic behavior. He warns that the shift could trigger instantly, so they must brace. Suddenly, a heavy rumble quakes the earth. The transformation could start any time. A deafening roar begins to echo through the entire area. Reality begins to warp. The blonde guy watches paralyzed as their environment twists and turns. Everything reshapes into a colossal chessboard. Our hero realizes this isn't just a simple teleportation. The world itself has morphed. Suddenly, the pink-haired girl collapses in agony. Signs of distress overwhelm her. Concerned, the protagonist rushes to her side, desperate to help. She claps his wrist, trembling she can't suppress it anymore. Ben realizes she's about to go berserk. This nightmare scenario is exactly why he wanted a breather before the next phase began. A shadow looms. A voice demands to know who slaughtered its soldiers. Captain Kuros reveals himself. The legendary Legion commander vows to avenge his fallen brothers by crushing them where they stand. Our hero is stunned. Orcs belonged on floor 15, yet this is supposedly floor 16. He suspects these levels are intertwined. Just then, a system notification flashes across his vision. The rule of floor 16, the weakest, must strike first. The hero is left utterly speechless. The orc captain bellows for their most pathetic warrior to step out. Our protagonist prepares himself. However, his friend suddenly blocks his path, refusing to let him face the beast alone. He declares these trash rules don't apply. Ben tries to stop Light, but he ignores the warning. He lunges. The orc captain prepares to strike. Mocking him as the weakling, the blonde warrior bellows a threat and lunges with godlike speed. His strike lands with zero impact. Suddenly, a cold system alert flashes a sacred rule was violated. Divine punishment strikes instantly, stripping away his skills and crushing his battle stats to nothing. Paralysis takes hold of his body. Seizing the opening, the orc captain brings down his titanic axe. With his strength gutted by the penalty, he is powerless to deflect the devastating bone-shattering blow. Ben and Dako freeze in horror as the system declares Light's defeat. His form slowly fades away. Our protagonist uncovers the truth. They aren't in a normal zone. This is a treacherous, unique trick room. These floors demand absolute obedience to complex rules. Play by the book, and you might survive. Clearing it correctly promises God-tier rewards. But stray from the path and the price is lethal. Violators face instant execution. Ben curses their luck, realizing the tower's brutal difficulty is already hard-coded. The scaling is locked to their initial power level. Even if allies fall, the tower doesn't care. No scaling down exists here. They must face a four-man challenge with their numbers rapidly dwindling. With Light purged for his recklessness, their mission is on life support. Across the blood-stained floor, the orc leader chuckles, noting that even a dying fool managed to draw a drop of blood. Respect flares in the beast's eyes. He beckons them forward, his aura expanding into a suffocating shadow. Ben realizes that broken rules feed the enemy's power. Bitterly, the dark-haired girl scoffs at the tragedy. She knew that cursed blade was warping Light's mind, but its lethal influence exceeded her worst nightmares. Ben nods, the truth hurts. That impulsive hothead wasn't the same man they befriended at the start. Logic has left the building. Dako declares that sword a liability that will surely trigger their demise. In this crisis, she vows to forge him through hellish training if they ever make it out alive. Ben pleads for focus on the objective, but she isn't buying it. Her plan has shifted. Down a man, she abandons the traditional path. It's time to exploit the tower's chaotic mechanics instead. She intends to shatter the rules intentionally to test the penalty. The massive orc looms closer now. He senses her true power, mocking her intent to trigger the system's wrath once more with her defiance. Silent and resolute, she shoots a final glance at Ben, gritting her teeth as she bids farewell. She whispers a final reminder of her warning before the orc's shadow descends with a killing intent. Steel flashes as she cleaves through the monster's limbs. Instantly, the system's ominous red warning blazes out. Dako is marked as defeated, vanishing into pixels. The armless beast erupts in a deafening, vengeful roar. Ben unsheathes his blade, noting that while the boss gained buffs, its mangled body is failing fast. He vows to end this nightmare, carrying the heavy weight of his fallen comrade's sacrifice. The beast sneers at the weakling, stepping up. But before their blades can clash, chaos intervenes. Rutile explodes forward in a feral rage, her claws shredding the air. Ben panics, rushing to intervene. Another broken rule means a god buff for the orc. Rutile is lost to her own bloodlust now. He has only one move left, injecting pure positive energy directly into her fractured, violent psyche. He fights to stabilize her. As the smoke clears, she's gasping for air, her body trembling uncontrollably. The cure fails as her condition spirals. Sensing a gap, the orc reaches for his blood-stained axe. Death looms over them both. Ben desperately calls out to the pink-haired girl, praying for a sign. She stays trapped in her berserker state, but suddenly shoves Ben aside with startling raw strength. Shielding him from the lethal strike, a system alert rings out the enemy's desperate assault has failed. The floor's curse is finally broken. The orc snarls his plan for a double kill, utterly ruined. The monster realizes that even in her mindless rage, her instinct was to protect her partner. To the beast, Ben's luck is legendary. But in a heartbeat, the atmosphere shifts to pure lethality. With a brutal snap, Rutile decapitates the monster. Ben stands paralyzed, staring at the face of death. Without her shield, he'd be a corpse. Even with a minor wound, the danger is skyrocketing. Their survival hangs by a thread. Hurriedly, Ben grabs a potion, desperately calling her to his side. This was their chance to recover, but she isn't having it. With eyes full of rage, she snaps and lunges at him. Ben is sent flying as her screech echoes through the chamber. Her mana begins to flare, surging with a terrifying and uncontrollable intensity. It clicks. She's still completely lost in the sauce. That inner fire is only getting hotter, and he's totally baffled by this escalation. Suddenly, the floor begins to tremble. The dungeon is shifting again, and the timing couldn't be any more cursed than right now. They are dragged into a new zone. A system notification pings they have officially entered the 17th room of this living nightmare. The place is crawling with masked goblins. Without hesitation, the pink-haired warrior charges into the fray, driven by pure, unadulterated bloodlust. Ben reaches out to pull her back, but he's too slow. She's moving like a feral beast, completely untethered from reality. Watching the chaos, our boy slams his fist against the ground. His plan to keep her calm just went up in smoke. There is no stopping her now. He kicks himself for being so cocky, promising to handle everything, without truly understanding the stakes. He admits he's been playing with fire recklessly, manipulating her fears and using his unique abilities without a single second thought. By his own logic, it's game over. With the rest of the squad already wiped out, this entire expedition is a failure. Part of him thinks taking the loss and restarting might be easier. But just as he considers giving up, something happens. Rutile suddenly blurs back, intercepting a stray arrow meant for him. She rips the projectile out and plants herself firmly as his shield. As she guards him, Ban realizes the truth. Even in her madness, she is still sacrificing everything to keep him safe. He flashes back to her promise. She had sworn to follow his every word because her trust in him was absolute. That memory hits hard. Our boy grabs a fresh potion, eyes narrowing with resolve. He won't let her story end like this. The mission might be a total wreck, and their odds are basically zero, but his never say die spirit just ignited. Priority 1, snap her out of this trance. The only problem is, he has zero clues on how to actually do it. One wrong move could trigger a disaster. He reflects on her usual vibe. Typically she is as loyal as a devoted pup. She used to be so reliant and obedient. But then a thought strikes, even the most savage beasts can be tamed. Rutile wasn't born a monster. If there is a shred of her old self left, he just needs to find the right frequency. Maybe he's just been approaching her wrong. He suddenly flashes back to Doko's old advice regarding the art of true dominance. To her, some souls only find peace under a true alpha. This primal, feral side of Rutile demands a dominant hand, not gentle pleas. Processing the situation, Ban realizes he must shift his tactics. If kindness won't reach her, force will. He intercepts her path, barking a stern command to stand down. That's the final goblin. If it dies now, the next wave starts instantly, and they won't survive the transition. Healing comes first. When a stray monster charges, Ban sends it flying with a heavy boot to the jaw. He asserts his dominance, forcing the beast back. As Rutile lunges again, he knows he's out of soft options. Our hero pulls a chair and rope from his inventory, lashing the cord against the stone with violent force. The crack startles her, freezing her in place. He sets the chair down, booming a direct order to sit. She growls, her pride wounded, but eventually relents. Ban snaps the rope again to keep her focused and quiet. He demands her hand. She complies. Softening his tone, he offers a word of praise for her obedience. The frenzy dissipates as her senses return. Our boy notices her hair color slowly bleeding back to its original shade. Stunned by the instant success, he watches a blushing Rutile shyly mutter his name, her sanity fully restored. Exhaling in relief, he welcomes her back only for her to lunge forward and pull him into a suffocating hug. Her every fiber acknowledges him as her sole master. Suddenly, a massive jolt of raw energy strikes his heart. His legs give out, dropping them both. She lands in his lap, leaving him absolutely cooked and confused. Without warning, a system prompt flashes. The concept of absolute submission has successfully taken hold within her soul. And now that pink-haired girl has morphed into a... Processing this, our guy feels reality shattering into absolute madness. Eventually, Rutile's eyes flutter open, discovering a shirt draped over her. Memories resurface, and she snaps awake as the hero secures the goblin. Drowning in anxiety, she tearfully rushes him, desperately searching for injuries. To calm her nerves, Ban proves the elixir worked. He reveals he fed her the mystical brew while she was totally blacked out. Ensuring her physical recovery, yet agonizing remorse, continues to haunt her. Guilt weighs heavy on her heart, as she fears she's just baggage. But Ban softly ruffles her hair, silencing her worries with a gentle touch. He reaffirms his vow to protect her, offering a sincere apology for his tardiness and his failure to truly grasp her pain. He'd been blind to her silent pleas. If only he'd connected the dots sooner, they could have crushed this crisis before it even ignited. Touched by his words, she pulls his hand down, pressing his palm against her cheek while wearing a serene, blissful smile. She pours her heart out, thanking him for being her shield, keeping his word and pulling her back from the brink. Then she drops a bombshell, calling him master. Ban freezes his face instantly, turning a deep, chaotic shade of crimson. Panicked, he frantically waves his hands, desperately trying to shut down a title that feels way too intense for him. But she remains unfazed, seeing absolute logic in the name. Meanwhile, Ban's internal alarm bells are screaming at maximum volume. They're just schoolmates. If his family ever caught wind of this master talk, the fallout would be absolutely legendary. He's a dead man walking disowned for sure. Clueless to his inner panic, Rutile tilts her head asking if he's feeling okay. Stuttering, he pleads for a rain check on this convo, but his soul nearly leaves his body when she leans in closer. The chaos finally settles. They take a seat side by side as she prepares to unveil the dark secrets of her past. She reveals her half-beast heritage, though her lineage is far from ordinary. She carries the blood of ancient, formidable legends. Her father once struck a deal with a cosmic constellation, a pact he would eventually come to regret with every fiber of his being. That celestial entity refused to let go, shackling their entire bloodline with a relentless soul-binding curse that spans generations. This dark hex incinerates her emotions to fuel raw power, a double-edged sword that strips away her sanity and self-control. When feelings peak, the beast takes over. Since she was a child, her wild instincts have acted as kindling for the curse's fire. Pure, unadulterated rage floods her veins. Armed with this terrifying clan legacy, almost no one has the strength to stand in her way. Fearing she'd hurt those around her, she lived a life in shadows, bottling up every instinct and burying her true self deep inside. That loneliness was her only companion. Finally, the scales fall from Bond's eyes, realizing why she always held herself back. Since feeling anything could trigger a berserk rampage, she stayed numb. Ban wonders, was this the real reason she joined the Union? Did she seek the constellation that cursed her? She shakes her head. Neither she nor her father want anything to do with those gods. They're done with cosmic contracts. Her true mission, finding a way to extinguish the emotional furnace that threatens to consume her. With a slight tremor in her voice, she reveals the solution. A deep soul-level bond of absolute subordination between master and servant. It's a primal instinct etched into every beastman's soul, a biological drive to yield completely to a master they truly trust. A master's word is absolute law. This is exactly why Ban could suppress her inner beast when no one else could. With his command, the hellfire inside her stays dormant, sparing her heart from the flames. But one question still haunts him. Why me? Ban asks. She explains that, for the bond to hold the master's soul rank, must dwarf the servant's in sheer power. Thanks to the curse, her soul rank is already sky-high. Finding someone with enough spiritual weight to dominate her was almost impossible. Ban looks inward and realizes the truth. His own soul's depth is vast, far outstripping even her legendary lineage. He's the perfect fit. After a heavy silence, she confesses that she felt his immense presence the very second they met. She knew right then he was the one. She's been agonizing over this since day one, relieved he stepped up when it mattered most. Ban lets out a nervous chuckle, realizing the massive weight of the life he's just taken into his hands. Rutile isn't letting him back down. She grips his arm firmly, reminding him that she's spent her whole life living in a cage. The cage is gone. Now she can finally laugh, weep, and fight with a bravery she never thought possible. Ban's heart skips a beat. For the first time, he sees her beam with a smile that's pure, grateful, and deeply affectionate. He is her ultimate freedom. Even if the burden is crushing, she insists he must be the one to carry it. Overwhelmed, Ban takes a beat to process it all before finally nodding. With his consent secured, she rises to her feet. She's ready to conquer the tower by his side, determined to soak up every possible second in his presence. She's eager to push her limits without the fear of losing her soul. But before they move, Ban has a final gift. Reaching out, he manifests the sigil of wild instinct, channeling a massive surge of gathered energy directly into her. He plays it off as a small gesture, but Rutile is floored by the sheer staggering magnitude of the power he's sharing. Her eyes wide, she asks if he's serious. Ban just flashes a confident grin, confirming that it's all hers. He tells her to use it to ground her power for the battles to come. Rutile nods, drinking in the incredible gift. Stunned by the overwhelming energy, she double-checks if this is real. Ban's smile is all the confirmation she needs. Grasping her hand, he funnels his essence into her, whispering a soft thank you as the mana surges. A shimmering filament of light bridges their touch, binding their fates as a mysterious crest burns into her skin. A radiant grin breaks across her face as she clenches her fist, declaring with fire in her eyes that it is time to move. Fear has vanished now that her power is restored. Let us keep pushing, she says, her voice steady and sharp. They storm through the levels, unleashing everything they have got. Yet the tower's higher floors prove far more brutal than expected. Their momentum crashes at floor 19. Frustration boils within the pink-haired girl. She is annoyed her private time with the hero was cut short. Outside, Professor Yumina is already waiting for them. The professor praises their grit, but notes the others who exited before them were surprisingly elusive. They bolted toward the training grounds before she could even get a word in. It makes her wonder if something went down between the two. The protagonist shakes it off, asking exactly how much she has uncovered so far. Over snacks and steaming tea, she reveals the intel she gathered on the mysterious intruder they apprehended. The surveillance footage left her reeling. She never imagined these assaults would escalate so rapidly. Clashes with these invaders usually end in blood. This time they got lucky, but luck eventually runs out. When asked why they are in the crosshairs, the professor pauses, considering the most likely motive behind the strike. The assassin was a rogue climber, unaffiliated with the school. They were likely targeted for one specific reason. As top-tier rookies, they have become massive targets. Powerful enemies want to snip these rising stars in the bud. She adds that anyone chosen by a constellation instantly becomes a magnet for celestial eyes, both good and bad. Rejecting a divine contract proves they have iron wills. That kind of potential makes them impossible to ignore. Now, countless gods are peering down at them. Hearing about Ben's secret recording, the professor's eyes widen. Could the attackers be from Exodus? He warns that the entities backing that group are notoriously bloodthirsty and ruthless. He cautions against ever striking a deal with such vile beings. Meanwhile, our hero deconstructs the invaders' dirty tactics. They use cheap lethal traps that would have been fatal if missed. It is a chilling realization. Only their monstrous stats kept them alive. He shudders, wondering how many weaker students were less fortunate. How many fell to Exodus rage simmers as he recalls Rutile's agony and the shadows pulling the strings. If the gods are responsible, he won't hold back. In his heart, he swears vengeance against Exodus and their patrons. He will never forgive their celestial backers. Seeing his darkening expression, Professor Yumina grows visibly uneasy. She admits his aura is terrifying. Realizing his mask slipped, the hero quickly apologizes, though the tension remains thick. The professor sighs, admitting her own helplessness. She hates that her position does not allow her to shield her students better. He comforts his mentor, reminding her that the tower's chaos is beyond anyone's absolute control. Pivoting, he asks about the edited footage. Without missing a beat, she tells him to blast it across the internet. Publicly shaming their failed assassination will humiliate their enemies, forcing them to retreat into the shadows for now. Grinning at her audacity, the hero rises. Their business is done, and it is time to move on. Before leaving, he mutters that these divine entities only ever seem to bring misery and chaos. He is already fed up with their celestial drama. For that reason, he has zero interest in signing their contracts. Yumina agrees, but offers a small, lingering piece of advice. Maybe not all of them are monsters. Some might actually care. She blushes quickly, pivoting to another topic. After one final tip, she dismisses him. Over in the gym, the emo girl is currently making Light's life a living hell. Our hero intervenes, noting that torture won't help. They need to clear the air about the recent incident first. He suggests taking the talk outside. The blonde guy turns to him teary-eyed, asking if he really messed up that badly. Ben squishes his cheeks, confirming that they would have cleared floor 20 if he had not fumbled the bag. When his friend calls it a minor slip-up, Dako's temper flares even hotter. Her fists tighten as she lunges, sending him diving behind the hero. Finally, he buckles and offers a genuine apology. He admits his ego got the best of him. Seeing his regret, Ben asks the goth girl to give him a break. She relents but demands a price for her mercy, recalling a pact they made deep within the tower walls. She demands a reward of her choice. The hero nods, giving her a blank check for whatever she desires. Later, in the vibrant city of flowers, the squad hits up a local boutique. Dako flaunts a flowy black dress, shooting Ban a look to gauge his reaction. Watching nearby, Rutile's eyes narrow like a predator fuming at Dako's overly casual vibe with her master. Though usually cold as ice, a faint smile actually creeps onto Dako's lips. It's been ages since she's felt this carefree, and the simple joy of shopping hits different. Still, Rutile keeps burning holes into her back before finally spitting out a sharp insult. Dako hears it clear as day. Chaos erupts instantly, leaving Ban wondering how things went south so fast. Moments later, Rutile pivots, trying to sweeten the mood by feeding Ban a piece of candy. Dako's blood boils at the sight, snidely asking if Rutile's berserk phase is actually over. Ban gives the green light, and Rutile practically glues herself to his arm, showering him with praise. Dako rolls her eyes at the PDA, but she will take the win, since the beast is finally tamed. Like clockwork, they start roasting the blonde swordsman who sighs and admits he is the squad's last loose end. Mid-argument, Dako points to his blade, demanding he face the reality of what went down last time. He admits he lost control, and vows to keep the sacred sword sealed during the next fight. The vibe turns heavy as the group wonders when he will finally stop masking his inner demons. Suddenly, a mental ping hits Ban's brain. Dako is sliding into his telepathic direct messages. She tells him to quit being shy, reminding him they are roommates and hinting he should make a move. She suggests using that same beast tamer energy on Light, nearly making Ban choke on his water. Clueless about the secret chat, Rutile rushes over worried sick that Ban is actually dying. Dako keeps roasting him mentally, warning that if he stays passive, Light will never break his shell. Ban finally snaps back telepathically, insisting he is just being friendly and she is reading way too deep into it. She shuts him down, reminding him that he promised to support them both, so it is time to man up. Ban promises he is on it. To kill the tension, he pulls up a holograph to brief them on upcoming events. Kicking off next week, the squad is headed on a massive expedition into entirely different dimensions. It is a full-on field trip for students and staff. Dako wonders if the Union always does this charity work. Reading the brief, Light's temper flares, questioning why high-tier dimensions get to treat the lower ones like garbage. He hates how dependent they have become. Ban nods in agreement, but Dako jumps in with a different take. She tells him a true leader needs vision and wisdom, not just a heart full of salt and resentment. Light is not buying it. He sees these missions as just a glorified playground for wannabe deities. Ban stays quiet, but he can feel the deep-seated trauma radiating off Light's past. Changing the subject, Ban drops a bomb he is enrolling in Professor Yuma's hardcore magical combat training. He is going all in on his power-up. The squad is floored, demanding to know why he kept them in the dark. Days later, Ban is solo in the gym, staring down a mysterious magic wand. He tries to vibe with the artifact, begging it to spill the secrets of magical tongue, but it is ghosting him. Running out of patience and time, Ban's expression darkens into a terrifying predatory grin. 3 days of zero progress. Failing Professor Yuma's class is not an option if he wants to survive. Fed up, he slams the wand down and grabs a massive hammer. It is time for some aggressive restructuring. If it will not talk, he will just devour its core. But right before the impact, the wand screams for mercy. Turns out the stick has a voice, and it is absolutely livid about Ban's caveman tactics. It rants about how he literally violated its internal code without a please or thank you. Utterly baffled, Ban lifts the wand, asking what it even means by entering its soul. He realizes it is probably feeling his broken ability to deconstruct reality itself. The wand keeps preaching, calling his power uncivilized and insisting that true magic requires elegance and finesse. Sick of the noise, Ban covers his ears and tells the talking stick to put a lid on it. He flips the wand upside down, making it crystal clear that the complaining ends right now. Surrender your essence. Sensing no escape, the stubborn wand finally yields its secrets to its new master. It shudders, coughing up a glowing, rune-etched orb. As he absorbs the light, a system alert flashes. He's flooded with ancient linguistic data. His magical perception and fluency just hit a whole new level. Ping more rewards roll in, boosting his elemental affinity and deepening his very soul. Ban's jaw drops at the complexity. He can now translate raw mana into precise, weaponized symbols. He's a walking factory of elements manifesting fire and water with a mere thought. Wind and earth obey his command. To test it, he weaves a complex circle in his palm. Balancing all 5 elements, he finally decodes the impossible syntax of the magical world. This was once a pipe dream. Now, Professor Yumi's class won't be a struggle anymore. He won't just pass, he'll dominate. He looks at the wand, realizing he's holding something legendary. Under his intense gaze, the wand quivers. It's spiraling into a mess of panic and existential dread. "Why am I this?" it wails. Ban cuts it off. "Spare me the tragic backstory. I've heard it." "I was human," the wand screams. Our boy listens, but he's not exactly impressed. This sounds like a trashy web novel. But the wand insists it's real, betrayed by its closest allies. They locked its soul away and rewrote its brain. But Bond's power drain just cracked the seal. The suppression spell is shattering. Lost fragments of its former life are finally rushing back. Ban plays it cool. Is this thing actually regaining its strength, or is it just capping? The wand sighs, admitting it's still a shadow of the powerhouse it used to be. He's skeptical, but he can't ignore the insane stats this thing had from day one. Suddenly, shadows swirl around the wood. A terrifying, vengeful aura explodes without warning. "They'll pay it," bellows. Startled by the sheer killing intent, Ban lets go of the relic. It floats, radiating a blinding light. The wand is shedding its old skin for something new. It morphs into a majestic solar spear staff. Ban stands frozen at the sheer majesty of it. He grips the weapon as it spits venomous curses at its enemies. Revenge is its only fuel. The UI updates Tears of Sullivan. Its mana and soul stats are absolutely off the charts. After its tantrum, it admits a frustrating truth: it still can't remember the faces of its betrayers. These shattered memories are the ceiling. For now, the past remains a foggy nightmare. Still just a beginner, huh? Ban muses, noticing the staff still has massive growth potential. Beginner, watch your mouth. It's got a whole new attitude to match its new memories. Seeing the shift, our hero addresses it by its true name, Selen. The staff goes still. Ban offers a deal: serve him, and he'll fund its bloody revenge. Memories, power, and vengeance all on the table. Selen weighs the offer in heavy silence. Class time. But before the bell rings, Rutile is already glued to Bond's arm like glue. She's desperate to stay close, convinced that just being near him is her ultimate win. Light grabs the other side, having a midlife crisis about ditching his legendary holy sword. Ban shrugs them both off, zero patience for the drama. Nearby, the emo girl's smirking. She snatches the duo by their collars, dragging them off to give Ban some breathing room. Finally, some peace. Ban kicks back on the sofa and pulls up his system interface. He dissects the necklace's teleportation card, scanning the complex binary stream hidden within. It's all spatial math. To crack it, he needs to pinpoint and manipulate the key variables. With his new brain buff and Selen's assistance, the coordinate logic finally clicks into place. What was once impossible is now child's play. He deconstructs the spell like a master hacker. Data synced. He plugs in the coordinates and sets the trigger for immediate activation. A brilliant magic circle ignites at his feet. Even Bon is low-key impressed by the result. Snap, he's gone. A second later, he teleports right into a very surprised young witch's face. Watching from the shadows, a mysterious girl eyes his celebration. Her curiosity piques, and she moves in to interrogate him. She demands answers about his feat. Startled by the sudden voice, our hero spins around to find a blue-haired girl. Clad in a buckled witch hat, she analyzes him with sharp eyes. She suspects he just pulled off a teleportation stunt. He admits he used the built-in student ID function, but something still feels off to her. Sensing a hidden secret, she grills him. She's convinced he somehow hacked and rewired the spatial coordinates. She won't let up, demanding his secret. Embarrassed, he just shrugs and claims it was basic mana manipulation. That vague answer only fuels her fire. She realizes he actually cracked the high-level encryption of the academy system. She lunges forward, grabbing his collar. She demands to know how he pinpointed those specific spatial coordinates so flawlessly. Ban panics, wondering why this girl is going full detective mode. Just as things get heated, a new presence arrives. Professor Yumina manifests right behind him, nearly scaring him to death. He whips around to find his teacher grinning. She casually notes he found the room on his own, impressive, considering she totally forgot to give him the address. Yumina spots the girl and greets her as Ira, inviting them both inside. Ira gives a stiff bow and complies. Trailing behind the teacher, Ban exhales in relief. That was way too close. It is actually the first time, since meeting Dako, that anyone has been this aggressive. Yumina just flashes a knowing, gentle smirk. She mentions she hates drama that slows down her schedule. With that, it is time to kick off the lesson. They assemble at a breathtaking sky arena. There, Yumina formally introduces Ban as the newest face on campus, a transfer from Class 11. While the welcome seems chill, the salt levels are rising fast. Seeing him act so friendly with their favorite teacher triggers major jealousy. Scanning the room, he counts only 9 students. Clearly, this is the elite squad, only those with insane raw talent and mana control. He spots that same blue-haired girl sitting in total isolation. Initially, he thinks, maybe she is an outcast. Wrong. Her mana is so thick and oppressive, it literally pushes everyone else away. It forms an invisible barrier. Ban recalls the emo girl's warning about a monster even more cracked than Ordima. Could Ira be the one? Suddenly, a blonde student named Misty cuts through the silence with a pointed question. She asks why he is just showing up now if he is a mage. Yumina keeps it 100 and explains. Ban found a rare artifact that basically chose him, jump-starting his latent magical powers like a literal cheat code. The class is stunned. Using the distraction, the professor suddenly plugs her own exploration vlog. The students don't hesitate, smashing that subscribe button instantly. Ban is physically cringing at the shameless plug, but the students are still baffled. How does an item grant magic? Yumina explains that while rare, these awakening events are totally possible. Latent power finds a way. Misty, still skeptical, challenges Ban to prove his worth with a live demonstration. She wants to see his raw power, no artifacts allowed. Yumina tries to intervene, but our boy steps up without hesitation. He humbly warns them he is a total newbie and has not mastered any complex spells yet. He takes center stage, deciding to stick to the basics. Time to see what elemental magic looks like. He conjures a howling gale, swirling it into a cyclone. Then he drops a firebomb right into the center. A massive fire vortex erupts, scorching the air. The students recoil in terror as the inferno rages under his command. No chance, no incantations, the class is reeling from the flex. Meanwhile, Ira just watches, her mind racing. Yumina calls for an end to the show. With a simple clap, the violent storm vanishes into thin air. Yumina beams, praising the insane control he displayed for a supposed beginner. That was high-tier mastery right there. Dead silence hits the room. As Ban walks back, he catches the salty whispers of his peers. This is the true power of a special admission student. Some haters try to cope by calling it basic, pure jealousy. Ban glances toward the blue-haired girl, hoping his display earned at least a bit of respect. She is stone-faced. Ban sighs as she looks away, clearly finding the whole spectacle beneath her level. She is not impressed at all. With the awkward intros finally over, Yumina starts the grind. Fast forward to the end of class as Ban packs up a hand, suddenly yanks his shirt. It is Ira. She is staring him down, and it looks like she is not done interrogating him just yet. She grills him relentlessly, craving the truth. Nearby, students eavesdrop, their curiosity piqued by the tense exchange. Ben tries to slip away, certain he has said enough. He keeps his head down, hoping to escape, but she corners him again. Did he really hack the principal's complex high-level source code all alone? Ben blinks, genuinely puzzled. Is that task actually hard? The girl doesn't back down, intensifying her interrogation. She argues that even with keys rewriting, teleport coordinates is impossible for a newbie. Tension thickens between them. Suddenly, the professor intervenes. She calmly claims Ben for a mandatory counseling session, pulling him from the heat. She drops a bombshell. Ben never had official clearance. Such god-level permissions are strictly reserved for elite faculty. The girl freezes as realization hits. He performed that insane miracle with zero outside help or authorization. Before she can react, the professor cuts her off. They will talk tomorrow. The session starts now. They walk away together. Soon she brings up his modified ID. Ben's heart races as his nerves kick in. He asks if he broke some taboo. She smiles, reassuring him it is fine. She explains that these identifiers are crystallized tower mana simplified by the principal. She just warns him not to break the fragile device. Relief washes over him. A heavy sigh escapes. Then she adds that rewriting an ID, while still a student, is a feat considered physically impossible. Now Ben finally gets why that girl was acting so crazy. Shocked by his unintentional flex, he clutches his head. His anxiety begins to spiral into pure worry. The professor bursts into laughter. Startled, he asks if his reckless actions actually made her feel happy. She confesses she always felt he was a natural. Now that his sleeping talent has finally awakened, her instincts were right. Ben asks if he is in trouble for the modifications he made. She shakes her head. This isn't about punishment. The headmaster himself has requested a private audience with him. Ben's jaw drops. He expected a talk with her, not the big boss. Before he can protest, she touches his chest, whispering a blessing. Instantly, a glowing mana vortex erupts beneath his feet. He is sucked into a void. That terrifying, weightless sensation returns as he plummets through the empty abyss. Tumbling through the dark, he finally hits the floor. He is in a surreal room without walls. Just a desk, a chair, and endless space. He scrambles up as a raspy, ancient voice welcomes him. He spots a creepy, mechanical doll butler. It is clearly a puppet through which the headmaster speaks to visitors. The principal greets him warmly. He notes that Ben and Professor Yumina seem to be getting quite cozy. He warns Ben to watch his back around her jealous fanboys. Ben sits contemplating his next move. Should he hide these secret meetings? The headmaster scoffs, claiming secrecy only matters if Ben blabs. The mood turns cold. The principal reveals that their second year demands a major specialized career choice. General studies are over. Every student must now pick a specialized path to master their unique craft. He demands Ben's choice. Caught off guard, he realizes he hasn't even considered his future path yet. Reflecting on his journey since the entrance exam, he sees just how much he has evolved. After a tense pause, he makes his choice. He wants to stay with his Class 11 comrades. The principal reminds him that elite teachers are waiting elsewhere. They could turn him into a legend. Yet Ben doesn't flinch. He knows his own rhythm best and refuses to leave his squad behind. He believes growing alongside them is his true path. Plus, regardless of his chosen major, he trusts Professor Yumina to keep leading him. The principal asks if he is just being a burden. Ben falters, then clarifies his stance. He simply wants to live up to her immense expectations. The headmaster nods but gives a cryptic warning. Her standards are sky high, and her motives are complex. Ben is lost, failing to see the danger. The old man decides to watch the drama unfold instead. He shifts gears to a special mission. A powerful, noble family has forcibly chosen the next location. Ben listens intently. The headmaster reveals that the influential Ordama family has stuck its nose in. Ben wonders about their goal. Rich patrons fund the academy, and they always demand total control. If they aren't given a playground, they might start a bloody rebellion or pull their funding. Ben's blood boils. He hates the idea of greedy outsiders interfering with the sacred tower. The headmaster clarifies his protection ends at the gates. He has zero authority outside school grounds. Ben's blood boils. Is Ordama plotting something for the activity? Is this a secret warning? He suspects a trap. The headmaster's cryptic words feel like a hidden omen of danger. I betray no one, the man insists. I merely share whispers floating in the wind. These whispers carry the weight of death. Ben finds zero comfort in such a distinction. Why drag the Ordama family into this? The pieces of this puzzle just don't fit. Knowing nothing about the activity, dread sinks in. Is he walking into a total slaughterhouse? He needs answers. Tell me everything, he demands, desperate to prepare for the coming storm. Silence. The headmaster refuses to budge. I've already said too much, he cryptically responds today. This warning was a courtesy, a bet on Ben's potential. From here, he is on his own. Frustration clouds Ben's face, but he swallows his pride and offers a stiff, formal thank you. The audience is over. Our boy turns to leave his mind, already racing with survival plans. I have matters to attend to, he says, masking his urgency behind a calm, cool facade. Before he steps out, the headmaster's doll delivers a chilling reminder. Keep this secret. Forever. Ben nods. I won't speak a word, but can I hint at the danger ahead? A subtle nod follows. The indirect approach satisfies the old man's cryptic rules of engagement. Wait, one more gift, the headmaster interjects. Suddenly, a blinding radiance erupts from the doll. I've watched your meteoric rise these 2 weeks, he praises. Your progress is truly legendary stuff. You've proven your worth step by bloody step. Now witness the reward for your struggle. Space tears open like a zipper. Out creeps a colossal eye, pulsing with terrifying spatial energy. It's the same eye from the ceremony. Through it, the headmaster funnels a massive power wave. A divine blessing descends. The very concept of solidity is etched directly into Ben's soul. Raw power surges. System notifications flood his vision as his stats skyrocket to insane heights. His solidity reaches a new tier. His body reshapes itself, molded by a terrifyingly powerful will. His divine manifestation goes into overdrive. Impurities burn away, replaced by a fountain of life energy. Evolution doesn't stop. Every fiber of his being is reinforced with God-tier strength. It is complete. The headmaster gasps. The results are off the charts. This goes way beyond his wildest expectations. I only meant to help you resist pressure, he mutters. But you've gained much more. Resist what Ben asks. The answer. Ordama's terrifying ability to rewrite reality with pure will. Ortema is still incomplete, yet his power is a nightmare. Most mortals would simply crumble instantly. Ban is stunned. He now possesses a shield against the most feared power in existence. This power-up was paved by a friend's sacrifice. The headmaster sees the hidden truth immediately. Be grateful, the old man warns. Your friend paid a heavy price to save your skin. The meeting dissolves. Morning breaks on the most anticipated day. The special activity finally begins. Ban rallies the squad. He meticulously checks their gear, making sure every detail is perfect. He's acting like a worried dad. His friends laugh, teasing him for being so overprotective today. Relax, we got this, they shout. But Ban knows better caution is the only way to survive. Danko chimes in with a cold warning. Don't go playing hero if things turn south today. Rutile stays chill, trusting the leader. Light, however, is locked in, treating this like a battlefield. As the quartet strides through the courtyard, every eye in the academy is glued to them. The rebellion name is already legendary. For many, this is their first glimpse of icons. Their aura is undeniable. They command the room as they march toward their inevitable destiny. The hype is real. They can feel the electric buzz of excitement radiating from the students. Sensing the fame, our resident emo girl smirks. Starting that channel was a total pro move. Ban nods. Zero regrets. Let's show the world what we're really made of. The entire crew is on the same page. As they march toward the main hall, they realize how much the vibe has shifted. Ban recalls when this place felt like a viper's pit. Now those death stares have transformed into looks of pure awe. Dako senses the massive change too. The regular students are finally writing for them, showing heavy support across the board. The elites might still be acting cold, but their chat is interrupted when Professor Yumina arrives with a radiant smile. She ensures they've eaten and packed the essentials. One by one, the group gives her a confident, ready thumbs up. Grinning, she pivots to something totally random. Since this trip is special, she insists they upgrade their look a bit. A snap of her fingers ignites a glowing magic circle. Suddenly, vibrant flowers bloom right in each of their hair. These match the one she's wearing, but they aren't just for fashion. Yumina explains these blooms carry a heavy purpose. These roses act as a mobile shield, protecting them anywhere. Despite the buff, the squad isn't exactly feeling the aesthetic. Our MC awkwardly suggests the flowers might stand out too much. Meanwhile, the resident emo girl tries to ditch her bloom. Yumina warns them to stop immediately. Her face turns serious as she explains the item is actually a powerful protective charm. Custom made for this mission, the hero finally accepts it. Dako, however, is still dying of embarrassment wearing a flower. Seeing their faces, Yumina reveals the charm can shapeshift. Another snap, and the flowers begin to mutate into new forms. The bloom morphs into a sleek tie, pulling Dako's white hair back. For Rutile, it shifts into a totally different accessory. For Ban and Light, the flowers shrink into subtle earrings. The upgrade helps, but Dako is still low-key frustrated. She grumbles that the professor should have started with that. Suddenly, Vice President Xenon commands the stage to begin the event. He declares the assembly complete. The squad takes their spots, focusing as Xenon kicks off the official mission briefing. It's go time for the special activity. The first-year students receive orders to board the massive dimensional ship immediately. As they line up, the blonde guy feels skeptical, knowing these vessels usually need a high-tech port to launch. Yumina clarifies that, while scout ships need ports, the beast they're taking today is on a whole different level. It's docked right outside. They peer out to see a colossal ship literally swallowing the horizon of the outer campus. Turns out the headmaster and Xenon flex their admin authority to summon this metal titan. Rutile is completely starstruck by the view, and even Ban is stunned by the ship's sheer impossible scale. After soaking it in, he looks at his squad. It's time for Class 11 to dominate this special mission together.